Hello, Midnight Coders, and welcome to a spontaneous podcast. Prof and I, are joined today with one of the smartest people I have met in the programming scene. This man we've had a few late night conversations, and this guy he's blown my mind more times in this week than anyone else I've met has done in a year. Uh, his name is Josh. He is a compiler engineer, and apparently front-end compilers do not mean the same thing as a front-end developer. I did this. This was something that kind of again blew my mind. So I would like to introduce you to our friend Josh, who apparently just went mute. What the hell?
Yeah. Hello, people. Hello. I didn't know because it was your intro, so I didn't want to step over it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Hello.
During the intro, I put it on full screen to mute. I had you guys muted just in case you did something like cough or sneeze or
Okay.
whatever. This is live.
So
This is live. It's going great. It's going great. So we're just literally hanging out, shooting the shit. We are just real dev talk. Um we're actually just they were just talking a little bit about this. And actually, you know what? Let the smart guy talk. Let the smart guy talk. This guy over here
come
and this
on.
guy down here can
No. So
both.
I do. Yeah. So it's funny because when I just came into his Discord, right, and it's like, what kind of developer are you? And I kind of like comically said I'm a front end developer. So yeah,
Uh-oh.
I do
Yeah,
compiler front ends. So I think we should maybe clarify.
let's
I don't
clarify
know what you
this
guys want to
because
talk about.
I am a back end developer. This guy's a front
Do,
end
do you
developer,
write?
but I'm a back
Do
end.
you do you deal with target specific optimizations and
Hey now, hey,
directed
hey, hey, now,
acyclical
hey, now, hey,
graph?
now. I'm a back end software developer. I'm not a back end
Web
compiler
de-
guy.
no,
Okay.
web development, web backend.
I'm not a
Let's
compiler.
say web backend and compiler backend just so we know what we're
I
talking
am
about.
a software engineer. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Okay. I'm not
All right.
specifying front or back. I'm just a
Um,
software engineer.
so so just to clarify to people, just the layman's terms, is so a compiler really has three fundamental steps. The compiler has a stage where it's all about reading your code, analyzing it, loading it into its data structures, checking it, doing some specific optimizations based on its language, and then desugaring also, so simplifying the language. There's something called a middle end. Also, sometimes people will just skip right away and call that the optimizer. The middle end is the main optimizer. So when you have your code being made super fast, you can thank the middle end. It's the one doing most of the grunt work there. And then the back end essentially is the part, the front part is specific to the language, and the back part is specific to the target, the assembly language usually you're targeting, so the machine, the architecture you're targeting. The backend's job is to bring that your code that's very abstracted away, still in the middle end, and bring it to something more concrete in the backend, and also optimize for the backend. So if something a backend might do is notice that you are doing something in a for loop that can be one single instruction in your architecture, and we'll completely delete the for loop and write that with a single instruction.
Jesus. Damn.
So I do mostly front ends, and something we should also explain, I should state immediately, is even though it's like, okay, compilers, you just do compilers. Like, no, the nice thing about being in the front end side of compilers is you are the main engine behind LSPs, IDEs, code formatting, syntax highlighting, linkers, because all these tools at the end of the day have to read your code, have to analyze it, have to make sense of it. And so they're essentially all compiler front ends. Uh, they're different versions of it. So we work on a lot more things than you might expect. And you never put it. I think the best part about my job is you never put a face to it, but I'm the person. Every time you get a syntax error, I'm one of the people who
I can blame you.
Yeah, you can blame me. I'm the person who's kicking you in the butt.
Good. Next time I can throws a conniption fit. I'll be in your DMs.
Yeah, exactly. Like any kind of error again, because middle and back end, aside for very few cases, don't do any kind of checking. The front end is the one who does all the checking. So anytime you get any warning or any error, you can blame me.
Good. I know who to send the hate mail to now.
Yeah, it's especially funny when we know how you screwed up and we could technically fix it on your behalf, but we decide not to and decide to leave it up to you to fix it yourself.
Oh yeah, that's like the Rust compiler does that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, the Rust, if you don't know the Rust compiler, it will say something like, you forgot the semicolon here. Do you want me to insert it? Like, I can do it, but maybe you should do it instead. I know what's wrong. I could fix it for you, but maybe instead you should fix it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so Mike, I actually wanted to show a small. I have like a small demo here of what Josh was talking about. It's one of my favorite examples, in my opinion. So,
Yeah, you guys were talking
because
about
Clang is specifically good at doing this. So I have here a small C++ program. I have a sum. I take the sum up to 1,000,000, just adding numbers, and return the sum.
Oh shit. We have.
And by the way, just to bully you,
we-
I'm gonna rewrite that program in Java.
not to cut you off here, but we have a comment in the live chat asking us if we can roast his resume on live stream. You boys want to roast him on live or what?
No, I am very much in my career. I'm still in the early days of my career, but I do work with GCC people and JetBrains people, and in some capacity Google and Apple, but that's very 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 loose. But I'm independent, and I've talked about this a few times with other people, with Glave. I value my independence a lot, and not just me, a lot of people do.
So do I as well. But I'm also kind of uniquely forced into an independent role but I just so happen to like the independence.
Yeah.
So I mean, at least I was negatively forced into something that isn't so bad to me. So
Yeah.
you take the win when you can get it.
Oh no, plus equals 0, plus equals I. Made a mistake. Okay, that's also not true.
Right,
And then
so,
I should probably print.
So just before
know.
we started this stream, these boys were talking about something that was above my head. And
Alright, so by the way, okay,
I decided to say, hey, let's throw together a stream and if you're gonna blow my mind, let's blow a few people's minds. So, what was it that you guys were talking about before?
So Josh mentioned compiler optimizations. So here I wrote a small Java program, which basically takes the sum of the first 1,000,000 integers and prints it. That's all it does. So as you can see, if I do measure command that, it takes about 230 milliseconds to do that. So now I did the same in C++. And now I'm gonna measure command just main, and you'll see that that's a typo. That's obviously why that doesn't work. So you see it's like 1 millisecond, if at all.
I'm just going to grab my top.
So it's about 200 times, at least 200 times faster.
Sure, but in this case, all the information is known.
Yeah, I know. I want to show Mike something.
Yeah.
But now he disappeared.
Yes,
I know that all the information is known.
I want to top up the coffee.
Yeah, so here you see that the C++ outperforms the Java by 200 times, and arguably even more, because here I'm having the overhead of the shell measured.
Yeah, it's like 230%. What the hell?
Yeah, so if you look at if I do an obj dump, if I look at the disassembly, and I look at the main function here, we go to main, you'll see that
We got just a
it
pause here.
it just computes the number ahead of time and sends it over
Yeah.
to printf.
Yeah, because
We
so what happened here, right, is I've said this a few times in the Java server, right? Optimization is a function of what, Glave?
what? Sorry.
Optimizations are a function of something.
Followed by.
Knowledge. They're a function of knowledge.
Oh yes.
The more I know, the more I can optimize. The less I know, the less I can optimize. And in this program, right, this is perfect knowledge. There is no ambiguity as to what the calculation is, right? We know the result of this program even before it ran, right? The compiler can figure it out. And so what you see in the disassembly is on line he's using relative lines, but on 5 lines,
Sum plus 1 or
if
sum plus I.
you see where it's moving into ESI, that massive number.
Oh, on the right hand side there.
Yeah,
Okay,
you can.
sorry.
The addresses are,
I was
are
looking. I was looking
absolute.
at the
So at
left hand
address,
side. Okay.
so at
You see where
address 400476 in
you see
hex.
it's moving it.
Okay. Okay.
So
That's
the
the second
compiler
argument
did the
to printf.
math the optimizer did the math ahead of time and just put the result in our out. So the user
Okay.
doesn't have to do it because in this case the result is known, right? This operation will always print out the same result. Why would I calculate it? Right?
Yeah. So now I want to do something even more interesting. I'm going to let's say put this into different functions. Let's say int sum to n and int n. And I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna take this. Int sum equals 0, and then here I'm
I
gonna
should
go
pay attention to the chat.
to n.
Yeah,
we have put the semicolon and return
we have
the
some
sum, and I'm
questions coming in
gonna.
the chat. We have a few questions in the chat. One
Oh,
being,
you guys can roast his resume. I didn't realize it was his resume. I thought it was my resume.
no. He wanted us to
I
roast
see.
his resume
Oh,
live.
I mean, if he's wanted.
I mean,
So
there you
I'm
go.
just gonna use
There you
it.
go. All right, dude. There you go, man. The coder guy. If you can send me your resume in Discord, we will bring it up and we will roast it for you. That being said,
And he also said that he wants us to build something, so he should tell us what he wants us to build.
we build stuff live on this shit on this all the time, Prof and I.
Alright, so return 0, that's clear. Then I'm gonna change it, so now the user needs to input n, so the compiler cannot possibly foresee what n is going to be. And I'm going to specifically mark the sum to n function as no inline, so that we can take a look at how the compiler optimizes it. So here I can like enter like a million. Oops. Not a million, yes. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Jesus Christ. Am I stupid? Probably.
No, you you just woke up. You're not caffeinated.
Yeah, I just printed n. Sorry, I don't know what I want. I want to print sum to n of n. So let's build that, make it, and then a million. So and it computes that. Okay, fine. Probably an overflow error. In any case, let's take a look at this assembly. By the way, notice how that was nearly instant, even though I'm summing like a huge amount. Look at the disassembly and I go to sum to n. So this jump is a jump forwards. So this is not a loop. And there is no loops.
Yeah.
Can you see that? So how is it possible that the compiler here did not emit a loop? And I'll let Josh cook here. Because I think this is his bread and butter more than mine.
Yeah, more front end guy than middle end guy, but here what you're seeing a lot of, I feel the compiler's done two things, right? It's unrolled the loop quite a bit, and also it's doing some auto vectorization. So vectorize this loop a bit. So do you guys know what vectorizing is in chat?
It
Does
did not
anyone know what
vectorize
that
this
is?
loop, in case you're thinking that.
What?
This is not vectorized.
Sure, but it is unrolled, I think, a bit.
No. So let's see. So it loads into EAX the number -1. It loads into ECX the number -2. So it takes n-1 times n-2. It multiplies them.
Yeah.
It divides them by 2.
Right. Yeah. Divides them by 2.
So it's n-1 times n-2
Oh
over 2.
yes. Oh yeah. I know what I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's
So
a
you wanna
general
tell me-
formula for summing all numbers, folks. That's what it's just replaced it with the
Yeah,
formula.
it replaced it with a formula. It knows math.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool, Mike?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
See, this is what this is why I wanted you guys to like meet up.
That is just a party trick. That doesn't know.
There's something I will also clarify, which is a fun compiler thing that a lot of people are seeing everywhere. So, folks, when you see XOR EAX, what does XORing EAS something by yourself always do? That's a good one for you, Glave. If I XOR anything, what is that always? If I XOR A by itself, the answer is always
Wait, A by itself, isn't that always just A?
9!
Sorry, wait, what?
if I XOR A by itself, the answer is always
Wait, what's the key we're passing in, or are we passing? Or
like
is
it doesn't
A
matter. No matter the value, if you XOR it by itself, if you have one, yeah.
Oh, now I'm trying to remember. I fucking know this too, cause
We
Come on, compute it.
Yeah, like let's take 9 and 9, for instance. 9, 9. 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1. What do you notice? If it's a 1, what happens?
I'm trying to do this
1
in my
and
head.
1.
Like I'm trying to do this in my head. Like I know what it does.
What
I'm
is
trying to
1 XOR 1? What is 1 XOR 1?
I was gonna say 2, but no.
No, XOR.
Neg
XOR.
Okay, then what is XOR, Mike?
Off the top of my head, I remember it's a Caesar thing, and I know we're shifting a bit.
No.
No,
So
no.
XOR is exclusive OR.
Yeah.
So 0. So it means that exactly one of the two arguments is supposed to be 1, and the other argument is supposed to be 0. So if we have 1 XOR 1, so that's both 1. That is not 0. 1 XOR 0 is 1. 0 XOR 1 is 1. And 0 XOR 0 is 0. You can also think it XOR is the same as not equals. If you take a look.
Oh yes.
So,
This is a major hint.
Okay, so not equal sign. Sorry. I guess. The dumb part of me
keep
wants
it
to
stupid
say.
simple.
The dumb part of me wants to say B.
There's no B.
Where the hell did you
I
find
don't
B?
fucking even know. Like that's the thing. Before we came into this conversation, boys, I had full.
Nice. We did say XOR.
I'm a
Answering the chat. So, like, if we take an example,
Yeah.
right? 1001, 1001, 9.
It,
999.
1001, 1001. Okay.
If you XOR that yourself, 1 and 1. If you the ones what 1 and 1 at the start, what does that become?
But that becomes a 0 at the start.
Zeros and then 0 and 0.
Because it stays a 0.
Yes, and then 0 and 0.
Stays a 0, and then 1 gets
1 and 1.
1 and 1 becomes 0.
1 and 1 again.
This whole fucking thing is becoming 0.
So A XOR A is what no matter what?
0.
0.
By the looks of it, an infinite 0. By the way, Prof's going, Jesus.
So if you look at this assembly, the compiler is not just, by the way, not just here. If you look also in main, you'll see it. This is the fastest way to set a value to 0 in the machine.
Okay.
So whenever the compiler XORs something by itself, to just set that to 0.
Yeah, this is because the XOR instruction is smaller than in bytes, so in machine code, than the move instruction.
Hmm.
If you look at here at the end of main, it does the same.
Twice, by the way.
Yeah, this is because it doesn't know, since it's calling dynamic, so it's,
Yes.
since it's calling a dynamically linked function, it doesn't know whether that may fuck up the contents of the EAX register.
Oh, by the way, I did get Guy's resume.
Alright. Well, anyways, I just wanted to show you a cool party trick with compilers since we were talking about them.
Yeah.
I do just want to.
I mean, at some point in my life, I would wanted to actually take a look at compiler dev myself. I actually had even a tiny course on it while I was studying compiler dev.
Can I not?
The way we dealt with it was absolutely cursed and not appropriate. But anyways. And that was the funniest story in that particular course, but maybe I'll tell it some other time. But I wanted to do a little bit of compiler work myself eventually, especially because I wanted, and especially front-end compiler work, because I wanted to contribute to CLangD, the C++ language server.
ClangD, I have someone who works on Wasm for GCC who does a lot of stuff for GCC. If you want, I can. Oh no, you want to say Clang?
Yeah, it's fine. I can't. I'm simply time prohibited from doing it now, but it's
For sure.
something I want to do in the future.
I can certainly link you to someone.
Awesome. Because there's a lot of things CLangD is missing in terms of language features, and that's
As a
something I want.
mathematician, what do you think of Flang?
What is Flang?
It's like G4tran, but for LLVM.
Right. Oh, Flang! Fortran. Fortran is nice.
Okay, boys. Can you see my
Yes.
screen?
Nope.
Nada.
I am not even sharing my screen with you guys.
Can you send it to us too?
That might be a better idea than this. Because right now I'm attempting to just hide his address and name because it's on the top of that. Let me just.
That sounds like a good idea. Okay, well, first the thing, like, seriously, not even Java or C#. Just hide. Just you never.
Java shit. It's only
never.
Java shit.
You've never. You asked for a roast.
You asked for a roast
Okay,
code
I'm gonna
guy.
write
You
a
asked for
compilation
a
of
roast
roasts.
code guy. So here we go, man. Here we go. He's a
Okay,
Windows
so
user.
code guy says Windows user here. That's your first roast. You're a Windows user.
Dude's a Windows user.
Fuck
from
you! I'm a Windows user.
Microslop is right here. What else do we have? You're a Ryan Dole. I see you like Ryan quite a bit. Yeah, you're a very big. You like Guido and Ryan. Do you want them to have? Oh, I was gonna say something slightly inappropriate. I'm not gonna do it. Do you want Guido and Ryan to have a
To enjoy June.
Do you like Meta? Do you have a Meta T-shirt? Because you seem to enjoy their frameworks.
So technical skill: React, Next, Redux, Tailwind, React Flow, and Shadcn. Okay, so funny story. I wanted to make a website for myself, and I had like zero. I never touched HTML, CSS, any of it, and I desperately wanted a website. So I thought, like, hey, how hard could it be? I googled what the most popular framework. It said exactly this what you wrote on your resume, and it took me 2 weeks to make a site in it. So.
Also got told by. See, I had attention layers. I had attention layers in an LLM tell me
Why we
that you
got
should not be
Next?
using an LLM.
Why we got Next.js here twice for the backend APIs and for the SEO optimizations?
Yeah, so Next.js
No,
actually
no.
does a lot of SEO for you. So putting it there said, I don't know how to do SEO. I rely on a library to do it for me.
No,
Ooh.
it speaks stuff. Also, REST APIs.
Yeah,
Have you ever heard of GraphQL and
Have you
others?
ever heard of rolling your own API in C++ and using a non-standard protocol
Graph
for everything because you're weird?
GraphQL is definitely good, and I actually, just for the record, man, I've got a video in my library that would be good for you. Teaches you some GraphQL.
Just to be clear, there are some parts I don't like about GraphQL, but we're roasting. um, Also, dude, I mean, GitHub, come on, host your own Git servers like a real developer.
Hey, you saying I'm not a real developer,
I
bitch?
mean, I feel like
I feel like I'm on his side here, getting roasted. I use GitHub, mother. What?
What about GitLab? What
I
about
have
Codeberg?
I have a GitLab. What the hell is Codebird?
The free and open source Git hosting alternative for freedom and Linux lovers.
I've never heard of it. I've never
But so
heard of it.
by the way,
Look at this. I'm learning.
so it looks like your only work experience is at one particular company.
True.
See that? See that? Yep. Only worked at one place, and you were only there for a
So,
year.
I mean, if this is your only experience, fine. Then that means you're competing for junior or like medium tier roles.
You learn the MERN stack like it's 2016? Bro, we're not in 2016 anymore. Grow up.
But project is good. Okay, let's see your project. Study buddy. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna swap my studying. So study buddy.
Should we vibe code a study buddy? He said it's an
No, the
AI
study
tutor
vibe
platform.
codes
So
you.
clearly he relies on his AI in the AI versus human challenge.
View text. Okay.
Let's take a look at his projects here. He's only got 2 projects in his thing.
Study buddy, and I hope this is the correct thing I'm looking at, but I don't see.
Oh,
So
we have
study
a
buddy
link.
AI tutor platform.
We have a link to the GitHub, boys.
Wait, be careful to not dox him completely.
Right. Can we
Doesn't okay? This looks like study buddy
There's
looks like it's a
there's also a live
very.
version of it.
I'm gonna break that off over here, and for the
There's a live version as well.
There's a lot of GitHub projects called Study
Oh.
Buddy. You have a problem with marketing. You cannot market your thing as the same as there is
AI
20.
study planner. AI study planner. Okay, let's try this out as a guest. Let's try this out. Let's try this out and see what happens. Okay, setting up.
Your
Okay,
load time
okay,
is too long.
okay. So I'm trying to do what? 12 hours a week? What the hell is this? 12 plants, 3 hours a week. Oh yeah.
Hey, can
Okay.
we try to hack his systems prompt?
Ooh.
Oh, doing some pen testing here, huh? I like that your mind immediately jumps to penetration.
Oh, what was that? What
Listen,
was that SQL
we're in
injection code?
roasting. We're supposed to be professional roasters, so
What
we
what
gotta
was
find the
what was that?
issues.
What was that? What
I
was the
mean, we
old
have the
SQL?
source, don't we? Wait, we do. We literally have the source.
Yes, we do. What is the SQL injection fucking command again? It's like equals.
Squeal injection.
Squeal?
Squeal injection, the nightmare of every Rust developer crying about memory safety.
What
Every
is
Rust
the?
developer forced into using Nightly for everything.
Yeah. And speaking of, so did you know? So Rust in the compiler version had what was it? One particular, I think, dynamic cast as compile time enabled,
I can't remember what the
and
query
then
was.
they, in a newer version, they disabled it. So that means that the way I found that
Oh.
by trying to compile Dino from source, which now no longer works because they made a backwards incompatible change.
Yeah. Sounds like they're gonna need a tool like Erector to save them. Ooh.
Eat sleep code repeat.
This should
Generate
be
with
funny.
AI.
What does this generate with AI? Oh my God, let's do
Hey,
this.
no,
No,
listen,
no, we got to generate this with AI. So what did it do?
No, because we could ask something ridiculous of the
Oh
AI to
shit, it
generate.
added 5 tasks. What is this? 5. Why did it say 5? Why was there a 5? 5 tasks. What? Copy.
Say I'd like to learn about burst buffers
Whoa. Okay, wait here.
for improving my DRAM.
I would like to learn about debuffer.
No, burst buffers
To what was
for
it?
improving my DRAM design.
Crazy.
Oh, that was pretty quick.
I think my chat is not working.
That was a pretty quick track back. Okay. It seems like you're looking to explore the to get
But
back
since
on
this is AI, I wonder where
to
it's
get back on.
working. Isn't this susceptible to DDoS attack?
I like that it got itself off track and goes, all right, to get back on track, let's review.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. So what
Hey, try to create a study plan for something ridiculous. I'm gonna go at it.
all right.
Okay, did you send me the link, Mike?
I'm gonna have to send you the link. Yeah. Okay.
And send me the link to the source. I want to take a look at the source.
Okay. I will drop these into our group chat.
And,
Wait. Go back to his resume. I want to roast something.
You want to roast some more? Okay, let's go back and roast a little more.
I want to see something. Did it say what tools he used? He saw the
Uh,
window somewhere.
I think it was somewhere up here. I don't want to go up
Next.js
too high.
project. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Uh,
Go down, maybe. Oh wait. Well, we.
Alright, so take a look at the source.
Look at that sauce. He says he used Claude for the UI part.
Listen, I can if I can respect that.
Yeah, I can respect that too. I don't
Okay.
do the front end myself.
F star front end. Who cares about front end? Oh wait, that's me.
What type of front end though we talking about?
Yeah.
I've learned to question this. So what do we
Yeah,
got this? What do we
true.
got this here? So that's this centrics. It's a multi-guild Discord utility bot. Ooh, near zero latency. Oh, come on.
We gotta measure that. That's a
Use
Come on.
Claude for the
Okay.
UI part.
All right.
That's a
All right.
dangerous claim.
That's a dangerous claim.
Claude for
Okay. Okay.
Especially
What
because he's
is
halfway around the world from where you are.
what is this going? Fine. What is this doing?
Wait,
What
so
is this
here it's
doing?
telling me I have to
Applications
log
loading.
in.
What is happening? I'm getting into the
That's not
matrix.
zero latency.
I'm into the matrix. Okay, so what do we got here?
Oh,
Ooh, what's this? Status is okay. The bot is this. The bit guild is this. The guilds, it's only in 2 guilds. The uptime is 9.367, whatever that means, and timestamp.
that did take a few
Whoosh.
seconds. That was on.
I guess I could have brought that in a bit bigger so everybody else could have saw it. Okay, okay. So now what did that do for me?
2 guilds? Seriously? Not even
Nice.
verified? Not even 100?
Oh, come on now, man. Let's bump that
No,
up,
I'm serious.
guys.
It's cool. It's cool.
All right, we'll back into that site. I don't know. okay.
No, serious talk. I see. If I can stop the roasting for a second, you know, uh, I wish I had your skills, genuinely, because you might think that people like me are like, who? Why would I say that? It's like I'm so trash at that. I'm so bad at web. Web is so hard for me.
Oh, sorry to cut
I'm
this out
not.
here. I would like to point out just a helpful tip for your resume. Your GitHub link for your Centrix is broken. It seems like it must be a private repo because when I went to it, it took me to a 404, so it's not public. Just a helpful tip for you. Come on, man. You say over 70 active users? Come on, I saw two guilds. Two guilds. Sorry, I'm back at the roasting.
Master of computer applications. Oh, well, wait, scroll up. It does say where he lives, unfortunately, on the stream, so I hope you're okay with that.
To try to keep this above. There we go.
Yeah, Mike, your stream is actually lagging. I don't know why.
Huh.
And the chat says that too, and I see that. I thought it's my Deutschland internet, but apparently it's not.
No,
I see it live.
it may or may not be my connection when I started streaming to the guys to watch. I'm gonna stop my stream on the Discord, but then you guys
Okay.
can't see what I'm sharing. I guess we're done roasting the resume anyway.
Yeah, we can just talk.
All right, so I'm gonna
Well,
stop sharing the
what
screen.
even is? I'm looking at the source code here, and this is not nice TypeScript.
Oh, are we gonna roast his code next?
Yeah, imagine casting to any because your types are not typing.
Is his GitHub
So like here you have defeated the purpose of TypeScript.
is his GitHub
Imagine.
okay? Does it have any? It doesn't have any revealing
No,
information.
I cloned the source.
Oh, you cloned it. Okay, bring it up on your end, or is that what you're looking at?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
this
looking.
looks like pretty dynamically typed TypeScript.
Yeah, dynamically typed TypeScript. What the hell is this?
All right, he's cool with us roasting his code, boys. Let's go. All right, bring that shit up. Let's
So
make it
like
bigger.
you can do this cast to any. Nuh-uh. And that in the auth file, by the way.
Why am I only seeing TSX files? Stop. Thank you.
TSX is what next year. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh, what is this? Jeepers.
I don't know
Holy
this.
yeah.
Maybe
Is that
is it
supposed to be
path?
an SVG or what the hell is all that?
Yeah, it's an inline SVG there.
Damn.
It's an SVG. Okay.
Okay, that makes more
Oh,
sense.
oh, that's cool. Okay, so you embedded the
That
SVG directly into
This is a very common thing you'll see.
that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
But I mean, you
Okay.
have the app slash. I think you can in Next.js you can just make a public directory and put your SVG in there, and then it works. But you know, hindsight is 2020.
Have you considered exploring other superior web frameworks? Like Vue? Like, life is not supposed to be, it's not supposed to be fun like Svelte. It's not supposed to be reliable like Angular. It's not supposed to be um fast like Solid. It's not supposed to be like all the above like Vue. Life is about suffering.
We all like to suffer a little bit.
I'm joking, of course. No, we're roasting, but just in case anyone came in just thinking I was actually serious.
I wonder why my TypeScript is complaining about everything.
I don't know. But if anybody else in the audience wants to
It's
have
probably bad TS config, or maybe it's bad NeoVim config, or some config is not good.
If anybody else in the audience here happens to want to have their a project roasted or reviewed or their own resume reviewed or roasted, feel free to hit me up
Let me
in
see if I
Discord.
can if I can take a look at this in WebStore. The code guy, which IDE did you write this in? So which text editor am I supposed to use to look at your code? Oh, I know why it is not working. I'm an idiot. Sorry, I forgot.
Get your LSP
I
going or
forgot
what?
that I asked. That's my fault.
Do you guys want to switch over to talking about concepts, programming stuff, or do you want to keep roasting?
Oh, we can jump over to concepts if we did we finish roasting his code or did we roast his code?
It's up to you guys.
Interesting.
Ooh,
Vulnerabilities in your code.
vulnerabilities.
Ooh.
So you may want to fix this code guy.
How fortuitous! I know exactly how to get into your attack engine of yours.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know at this point how to attack your project. So we're not gonna say that, but this is something you should probably think about.
Address. Might want to address that quickly.
Anyway, so this
All
should
right.
actually give me intelligence. Yes, I get intelligence now. Mwah, chef's kiss. Oh, so there's your API auth. Yeah, nice. I mean, this is nice. Next.js actually.
Mm-hmm. I don't really know
Try
what.
everything and catch anything and report 500. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like you wouldn't get past a challenge that might be coming. I'm gonna fail that quite hard.
Yeah. I don't know what does this
What do you
return.
think of your students, Glave, who just have a bare bones try catch exception?
I'd rather see it more specific, more less here.
Okay, good. I was very scared I was gonna find your API key.
No secrets.
I do like that you
Oh wait, dude, are you relying on your an env file even in prod?
Wait, is there an env file in this?
No, I think
That's fraud.
I think he's
That's
relying on
fraud
hard.
there.
I think it was hard system files, system environment, wasn't it?
Yeah, but but it looked like he was. Oh wait. Oh no. Okay, I understand. Yeah, I read that wrong. I thought he was
Okay,
relying
good.
on
So
the.
you didn't actually leak your API keys?
Yeah. No, no. If you look at if you looked at the other one that he called there, it was somewhere. It was process.env, so it's taking the environments from the actual machine itself.
And
So
I'm not a big fan of the env shit. I prefer just putting the keys in a file in a secure location and reading them at runtime. Um, maybe with encryption of some sort. Because the environment is fragile, and if you fuck up anything, you can break your environment and then have a very difficult to debug situation. Especially for being a Windows developer, you should know that the environment on Windows is very fragile, as you found out yesterday, Mike.
right? Oh my God.
Do you want to hear some crazy Windows stories?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Do you want to hear some? Um, I have crazy Windows stories. There's one Windows. So, I have a really good friend. We with whom we do a lot of projects, and one of them was what we were trying to do was improve profiler based optimizations. So that's when you run a profiler to gather data. So the next compilation is has much more knowledge. So the output is much more performant, right? So so he was responsible for making our we for this we made a demo language that we didn't intend to be used in any way, production wise, and we took two measures in place to try to really discourage anyone actually trying to use this as a project, as a language in an actual project. We didn't want that to happen. We just wanted to showcase some architectural idea, right? And If you're curious, the two measures we did is we removed strings and we removed arrays. No, sorry, we didn't remove strings. We removed floats and arrays. We're hoping that not having arrays and not having floats would be a pretty big, and a few other things. Not having a few other things would be a pretty big discouragement. But going back to Windows Story, so he was responsible for this making the our tool compatible with the Windows API. So I should probably explain very succinctly what an API is. Do you guys know what registers are?
Register or registrar?
I think you're gonna have to explain this to Mike more than me because I do C++.
Okay, so a register is a small area deep inside the processor, or where data is stored to be processed. Right? When you were looking at assembly, you're seeing registers everywhere. Essentially, your computer, when you're gonna work on actual data, right? Next to the part of the computer that actually computes, right? That thing has a few, usually, around 20 to 32, usually, oftentimes more in modern systems. So general purpose registers. A registers is just a tiny box where I'm going to put data that's right next to the actual execution engine, right? So that's where data gets sent to before it is processed. And when you do operations, usually you process them from things in registers. So, but it's not it's like I could choose, right, as a compiler to always put the return value in register B. And always and the first argument is always in register A, and the second argument is always in register C, right? That could be a choice of mine. A bit weird. Could be a choice. But then another compiler could write its code in a way where the return value is always in register A, the first argument is always in register B, second argument is always in register C. And that's a big problem, because now if I use the code of this other compiler wrote, right, in my project, right, it was the same language. They don't have the same ABI. They didn't respect the same conventions of where they were putting things like return values and arguments, which means that a return value is going to become an argument in another program. Like magically the first argument is going to be in the return value square box or things like that, which obviously you can imagine can lead to absolute chaos, right, and haywire on running the program. So
what could go wrong?
Yeah, exactly. What could go wrong if
What could
I can't
possibly go
trust that
wrong?
arguments and return are values that actually were supposed to be, right? Um, but crucially, an operating system has an API it provides, to programs, in the form of system calls and in the form of its own application binary interface. So Windows has an API, right? Linux has a CABI, right? And we all respect so that all our code works with each other because we decided these are the rules we're going to follow so that the return value is actually in the return value. It's not where the first argument is going to be. That'd be a good idea. Is this a good thing to agree on? So to find the Windows API, first he had to go look. He ended up finding it in this configuring. I think it was configuring Visual Studio, but not just configuring Visual Studio. It was in configuring, I think, strings in Visual Studio or something stupid. So I don't know why the documentation of the entire operating system is over there, but all right. The documentation is makes a lot of implicitness. It doesn't. It's not very. Doesn't tell you everything you would want to know, which leads you to have to go look around at programs, see how they do it, so that you can figure out what the actual API is, and this is the kind of thing you need to know. Really, you can't guess. You need to know what the API is because otherwise you're just not going to play well with the entire system, right? And with other people's programs fundamentally, including the OSs, the kernel, right? But here's the most stupid part. Here's the real Windows story. So Microsoft, in their infinite wisdom, decided to. There's a library that's fundamental to almost all programming languages. This is the core libc library. Even if you're not using C, you're using Rust, or you're using an interpreted language, you are fundamentally almost relying on this core libc library, where a lot of operating system functionality is also bundled as functions, as convenient function calls, right? So
Was
everyone relies on this functionality um, to interact with the system usually a lot, right? And do things, right? Doesn't
Yeah, I
matter what.
think Windows actually, the Windows C compiler actually forces your hand into linking against the
Yes,
MSVC standard C
yes,
library. On
it does.
Linux and other friends, you can
It does.
compile without
He,
dependencies
he
on that, but
discovered he discovered so much bullshit, by the way, by reading it. Like, I learned with him that drivers are not scoped in any way on Windows. They're always in a global scope with global variables loaded at all times when you load a
it's
kernel, a driver. So if there's one, that's how a driver can take down an entire system.
yikes. I mean,
But
that's pretty universal across all OSs, but that's double yikes.
here's the most insane thing. There are a few functions in there that are very common, like malloc and printf, right?
Mhm.
What Windows decided to do is to rename these functions. Malloc underscore s, printf underscore s, is that they all renamed all the core libc functions to have underscore s at the end. These variants are compiled with address synthesization turned on. That's not a bad thing. I want to make clear, I don't have an inherent problem against ASAN for testing and development. It's a fantastic tool. ASAN is a tool that allows you to catch mistakes in memory management before, like, it will literally kill your program if you made an oopsie in memories
Mhm.
that would have otherwise been a silent, could have either seg faulted or not errored out immediately.
Mhm.
So this is already crazy because what they did is they then pushed an update. So they pushed this update, right, where they renamed their functions to underscore s, right? My friend had to debug the linker to find where the old functions were stashed. They were so stashed and they were in so stupid names. Like, they tried to hide them so hard. They didn't want people to use the normal versions of the functions. And you know what's the craziest thing? In the subsequent MSVC update, they literally nuked from orbit all the old functions.
Yeah, this is the attempt. I think the reason they use malloc s and everything. And by the way, the frustrating thing is if you attempt to use the classical malloc in Visual Studio's MSCC, it will yell at you relentlessly.
Yes,
Um,
but in this was before they patched. We're gonna get to what you said, right? Before they were forced backwards, right? Because there was a
yeah,
point where they had deleted completely malloc, printf. They just had the underscore. They just had the address synthesization, ASAN for
yeah.
short, compiled functions. Why is this about the dumbest idea someone could have ever had in programming? And I'm not kidding.
I mean, every program under the sun calls malloc and expects to find the
Hmm.
malloc symbol.
So when an OS loads a dynamically linked program, right? That's dynamically linked against libc. It's gonna look for the name malloc. It's gonna look for the name printf. This would have caused every single piece of software to crash on load for Windows. Literally every single one, including most drivers, which could have literally blue screened into
Yeah.
permanence a Windows, like bricked it outright.
So what dumbass?
Windows,
What dumbass thought this was a good idea?
and you know what's the worst part? I wish I had a beeper, but I'm gonna put a star. But me me and my friend were so baffled because we were like, how could you possibly think this, right? What do you want? You want lit to take to for to because you have to understand something. MSVC updates are precursors to Windows updates, right? So this was not rolled out to Windows updates. We were like, you can't bring this to Windows updates. You can't force every single piece of software written for Windows in the last 30 years, no matter its language, to completely crash on load unless the developer recompiles it.
Yeah, I mean, this is an idiotic idea they had because one of the biggest selling points of Windows is backwards compatibility to ancient programs, and that's
Yeah,
where
like
where I
that
mean
would
it
have been like
wins against
that would have been
most
like
other OSs.
F complete star backwards compatibility. If it's not been recompiled in the last week, it will crash outright.
Yeah.
And
So
do you know what's the worst part? When we were he was in forums, like we couldn't understand. Like we were like, how, right? Like how could be what's going on, right? And you know what Microsoft said to me and my friend?
what?
Essentially F star you.
Oh my god. Oh my
Oh, yeah.
god.
I guess they were on the. I guess
So
some of the Rust
they
wind
they
back
had
got
to
into the
backtrack. They
memory
had
save.
to backtrack when, I kid you not, Epic Games and DaVinci Resolve entered the chat and said, if you don't revert this, DaVinci Resolve literally said, we are not going to publish for Windows ever again if you do this.
Ah,
Ah, baller.
that's great.
And we were not, seriously, we were so pissed, not because it was so stupid and bad for the whole world, but because it could have actually, I think probably not, but it could have cost some lives if someone had updated their systems on a critical system and it was completely crashing.
Yeah, crazy.
And we were and I was ready to point out to the world, because it's one thing to make the biggest oopsie in the world, but it's another thing to say F star you to people who
Mhm.
are like, when people are like, are you like, what you are saying, you are laying down the line, you are aware of your actions. So please
Jesus.
don't this is- anyway, quick crazy Windows story, but
Yeah.
that was just a
That's
month and a
wild.
half ago. I also had the biggest Windows crash that I've ever had in front of other programmers on Discord PC when that happened. It's like
And I have some cursed
not,
Linux
I could not
stories.
believe what I was experiencing.
You said you got some cursed Linux stories, Prof?
Yeah, I had some very cursed Linux stories. And unfortunately, the Linux kernel is not exempt from nearly as idiotic decisions as well that.
Mm.
And what I was trying to implement, I remember I told you that was a program which automatically mounts disks as they're plugged in, and now I have it implemented. It works.
Oh, nice.
But oh my god, I came across so many rough edges in the process of designing it.
Dang.
Like, Josh, can you believe this? The way you talk to the Linux kernel, or when I get information on devices from the Linux kernel, is using WebSockets. Like,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm aware. I actually, it's funny because I have my friend who's my partner in crime, who I'm not gonna say who that is yet, but he's someone who recently had a rant on Linux about WebSockets.
yeah,
I kid
why
you not.
why am I supposed to use WebSockets to talk to the kernel? Please give me an API. Anyways,
For
so
everything.
I talked.
WebSockets for everything. Files and WebSockets for everything.
Yeah.
WebSockets, no matter what.
It's also like the Unix mentality, like everything is a file, except every file behaves differently. So it's not really everything in a file, just everything looks like a file and hope that you open the right thing, otherwise everything is gonna blow up. No, everything is a file descriptor, except all the file descriptors behave differently. I mean, try calling bind on a file descriptor associated to a file, it will fail gloriously.
That'd be funny.
Yeah. So the Linux API is also rather painful. Also, by the way, so you need to mount the disk which is just plugged in. You need to find out what the file system is off the disk which you just plugged in. So the apparently there is no Linux system call available to do that at all, and the the system call which is able to determine the file system of a the device requires it to be mounted first, so it's not usable. So you need to read the beginning sector of the disk byte for byte and look for the file system magic identifier. And that is implemented in a library called BLK ID, block ID. Except the library was used to implement the command libblock ID and the command block ID, and the command works in the command document. There's man pages for the command and everything. But if you try to call the C library and look for man pages of that, you just get a list of exported functions with no comments, no nothing, no documentation on what the hell it does, no references.
No, of course not. You're supposed to read the man page. I'm kidding.
Yeah, you try to read the man pages. So if I do here man lib block ID, it doesn't say anything.
Yeah,
It's just completely empty. It just
read
said this is the way you're supposed to interact with block devices from user space, and then no tutorial, no explanation of what any of the functions does. So I went chasing around the source code of the block ID command and figured out how that works. Okay, so that's helpful enough. Second, I tried to do it. It said unknown. It said corrupted disk. Throw me a system called corrupted disk on mount. Oh, like what the hell? Turns out corrupted disk means file system not recognized. I don't know why it gives the wrong error number, but it does. Okay. File system not recognized. What do you mean NTFS is not recognized? I know Linux understands NTFS. Nope, it's implemented in Fuse, not in the kernel. Until 7.1, by the way. So kernel 7.1 has NTFS in the kernel. Okay, so now I need to execl NTFS3G to use the Fuse user space driver to mount NTFS. That's just crazy overall.
Why?
So,
Maybe you should take on. You should, maybe I hinted maybe one day to Glave and me OS Dev 101 basics. Let's do it.
We're gonna
Try
make.
to
We're
yeah,
gonna.
we should have forced
We're.
Mike
I'm.
to
I'm.
put
do
this in
low
the
I'm.
level
kernel
C++.
I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna learn how to make my own scripting language thanks to him, and
first.
it's gonna be the midnight coder script. It's gonna be .tmc files, and then from there we're gonna evolve. I'm gonna learn a little deeper. I'm gonna take a deeper dive, drink about a pound of coffee, and then we're gonna make the Penguin OS that placed. Oh, the
That
igloo.
would be
The
very cool.
igloo. We're making the igloo. The igloo. It's gonna be the
You
igloo
know, you
OS.
know, you
It's a
know,
place
one of
to
my
chill.
favorite ways to put it into people's head, right, is I like is like you say to people how much work is ahead of them in the OS, right, and how much stuff they have to deal with, and one thing I like is like you go to someone's like, all so let's just implement Hello World. Can't be that hard. Like, and then at the end of the explanation, it's like it's been 8 minutes, and we've just finished by explaining at fast pace how we implemented Hello World. I think you understand how where we're at right now.
Yeah, and by the way, that implementation of Hello World isn't acceptable at all because presumably in that implementation it told the CPU to halt after it finished, which is not a good
Actually,
implementation of an OS.
speaking about
It's not.
poor implementations, um, yesterday's stream, the last stream that we did, Prof taught me how to write C++, and of course he showed me a little bit of what I was doing wrong and what I was doing right. But then after the thing ended, the stream ended, I then jumped in a call with the other smart guy, and Josh again went over my code with me, showing me this and that, and I love interacting with people that I'm a pretty smart guy, and I like to think I'm pretty good at what I do. But these guys, I like mingling with people that are smarter than me. If you guys like mingling with
Uh,
people that are smarter than you too, I got the TMC Discord, and we also have this other fun thing because we're a Java channel. There's a great Discord called Together Java. We also hang out there.
Like, can we promote a system lang service?
Give her, promote whatever you want. These guys,
Yeah.
Promote your server. Promote your server. Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. No. I'll just say like if you don't want to hang out with the Java guys, you want to hang out with the C and C++ guys. The together C and C++, not together Java. Together C and C++ is a great place. There's
Oh,
also there's the OS Dev Discord that's really fun. There's two Discords for programming language development and compiler design, which I love a lot. So yeah,
ironically,
if you
I'm
want to see
banned
me
from
around,
Together C++.
see me there, and also I do high level stuff there. So if you can see me around the Python Discord quite a bit as well.
Man's in so many discords. He had to leave one just
Yeah.
to come into this
I know,
Discord.
I know the VCers. It doesn't matter. I know the low level. I know the high level VCers.
Yeah, so my only Discord recommendation, obviously, the Midnight Coder Discord and Better C++ Discord. That's what it's called because I'm banned from Together C++.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So here's a
What?
funny thing. Here's a funny story for you.
We're
Here's
gonna
a
come.
funny story
We're gonna
for
come
you.
back to that, Prof. We're gonna come back to that. Go ahead.
There are there are two C and C++ servers. There's the original Together one, and then there's the Better quote one. And the Better one is it was made by all the people who got banned from the Together one who still wanted the server.
Yeah, that's because the Together C++ server has the moderators which are very inexperienced, let's put it euphemistically.
You know, I know those moderators personally.
Yeah, I know them too. I know their psychology.
I will go ask them personally what happened with you. What they have to say.
Get it from the horse's mouth.
You can go ahead, but I consider that a waste of time. I don't care about that
Oh,
server.
are we gonna
And
roast
frankly,
Micah?
fortunately enough, the
Okay,
Better C++
okay.
Discord has some of the best C++ programmers around, so I got to
Hey,
learn everything I wanted to learn from them anyways.
So we're gonna watch
there was
Prof's. We're gonna watch Prof's stream, and he's currently gonna. These two experienced professionals are gonna roast me. Let's roast me. Let's roast my code. We're gonna look through the code,
Your
the C
code, it
plus.
works, so that's the great thing about it. I
There we
mean,
go. The first
I
nice
thought
thing,
this is
it
pretty
works.
acceptable code. Yeah, I think
Well,
this is pretty
what do
acceptable.
you
I mean,
think?
unfortunately, you
Okay,
got
okay, okay.
cooked.
So what do you think about my enum? Because Mr. Josh told me that my enum was not proper. So how do you feel about my enum, Prof?
I mean, I think it's fine. What's so wrong about it?
Oh, okay, okay. I'm gonna let Big Brain come in and answer this one.
no, I showed him a scope enum values with the enum class.
Class. Okay, I mean, you could have done this, but I mean, for just a single file project, this is fine enough.
Sure, but you know, you should. I think for not polluting the namespace, right? Because
Let's hear the
we
big
should
brain
keep
Yeah,
talk.
that
sure.
good habit.
Let's hear the big brains
And
talk.
also, like
Let's go.
I talked to him about system call spam in general and avoiding standard endline because it forces a buffer flush.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
got
mentioned that
screwed
to me
by
too.
his sea lion setups where it auto completed endline every time, and he didn't. I didn't want to
I
like
also
waste his
asked
time on
him to
stream.
use explicit parameterless constructors.
Explicit parameterless control. Yeah, that's a good idea. Although this is less required because the single parameter constructors are the really dangerous one. So
For
if it
sure.
was had a
But
single parameter.
I think just I told him just in general, please.
Yeah, explicit is a better
Yeah.
idea here. Um, and I mean, this is again two parameter, but and two parameter makes no sense anyway. What else is there? To say? I mean, this is what I told him to avoid reallocating the string on every loop iteration.
Mm-hmm.
And what I told him also is that arguably he doesn't need to do this. I wanted like I was more focused on like giving him an easy entry into C++ and optimizing the hell out of it. Technically speaking, here he should read a single character from the input stream, not a string. That way he could even avoid the
How,
allocation of the string to begin with.
how can you
Just
read a
needs one
how
character.
how can you read a single character? Because even in Java, I would read the string and then I would grab the character.
I think they still get shy, but it had some weird behavior.
Because like I was just doing the string at.
Yeah, there is std get char. So in C std.io returns the next character from standard input. But that has the annoyance that if the user inputs more than one character, the next time you call it, it's gonna, you know.
Can you show me the C? I think you had this little CMake you had set up there.
The CMake here is just a template CMake I use for
Yeah.
quickly compiling.
Can you add a few flags, please?
Yeah.
Could you add dash pedantic? Could you add dash W error? Could you add you should I mean you specified a standard. I would usually put it as a flag. We could put dash WVLA. Get that shit out of my code. And
Yeah.
sometimes to annoy C devs, I do have W old style cast.
W old style what?
Cast.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Okay.
These are all good warnings, frankly.
Can you
So let's make it.
as a Java dev who has no fucking clue what you just did, can somebody like, stop my head spinning?
Sure. So first let's start with pedantic. Their compiler a compliant implementation of C and C++ of a compiler, right, is forced to implement a certain number of warnings, right, in its compiler design and implementation.
Okay. Okay.
Pedantic turns all the ones required by the standard on. W on extra gets you all the other warnings, right? W error is the mean one here, but I really like this for learners. Promotes all compiler warnings to errors. If there's an
Yeah, highly
error,
recommended.
So that just elevates warnings to errors?
yes, so if there's a
Yes.
single warning, your compiler
Ah,
will refuse to compile.
I
Yeah.
Which,
like
This
as
is
that.
good
I
because the C++ compiler is very conservative with warnings. And
I
generally
like
speaking,
that.
when you get a warning, you fucked up 99.9% of the time. So
Okay,
you
I
should
like
so
read them
that.
instead of
together.
just silently ignoring
I
it,
I really like that.
we want you. For learners, a lot of people say you shouldn't do this. For learners, I disagree. I like the learner being forced to confront their mistake.
Oh fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
Where is really good. I highly recommend it. Because otherwise you
Um,
get like recently I was dealing with some of my university's C++ code and I compiled it and given like 50 errors. And then it was undefined behavior all over the place. So it's technically and tactically correct code, which just doesn't work. And then I had to go chase down a million incorrect casts, out of bounds errors and whatever else because people just were like, hey, warning, who cares?
so by the way,
just to
and also something I want to
sorry.
say to you, Glave, you can
Yeah.
also use an IntelliJ feature when doing Java that will
Mm,
similarly promote all of IntelliJ's warnings to errors.
I think I knew about that, but I just don't use it. Just
VLA is a feature.
sorry,
Yeah, go ahead.
just to pause here. Um,
The
so
chat is going crazy.
yeah, I know the chat is just blowing up. So the code guy is asking to share the link for that smart people man. So smart people man is Josh, and I do not think he has a YouTube channel.
No, I technically do, but
Never use it.
it's it's yeah, I used it a bit. There's a few private stuff. It's
Okay.
I
Um,
started and I was like I wasn't happy and I privated all my videos.
well, he says he wants to learn from you. So the only thing I can tell you, man, is he's in the Midnight Coder Discord. Feel free to ask your questions in there if you
Or
have
in
any.
many other Discord too. If you're in a programming Discord, it's likely you will see my name
Yeah,
somewhere.
he's the one who joined in here, Ivar. He's the one that we were roasting.
Anyway, oh, nice.
Sorry.
So
Anyway,
if he's here, then
so back to this. What was W that
Yeah.
VLA?
So variable length
that's
arrays.
it.
So variable length arrays are an array where the size is unknown at compile time. So if you think of an array as a contiguous area in memory, right?
Mm-hmm.
This allows you to have an array that is specified by a variable whose size is not known at compile time, like in this example, right? The user provides n, and then the array is of size n, right?
Okay. I think
These are really, 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 really bad. They are so bad, they are banned from literally every C and C++ code base in existence. The standards think they're a mistake and should have never been implemented in the first place. So we.
Oh, speaking of, guess what the Linux kernel messages are?
And they're bad from a performance and security and design and just in almost all aspects. And so to prevent even if someone were to submit a PR to one of our code bases,
Mm-hmm.
we just have VLA just to make sure, like, if they even have that anywhere, like, it's like with W error, it's like, because you have to realize, like, since we have W error on, right, turning on these kinds of extra things allows us to literally forbid a feature being used because it should not be used.
And like,
Oh.
let me explain to you, Mike, why variable length arrays are a disaster. So first, they are stack-based arrays. So if user input something like above 4 million here for n, it's gonna crash the program, or cause worse behavior, cause stack overflows, and then lead to an exploit. So second, the array itself does not hold the information of how long it is. So you need to associate a length variable with it and hope that your length variable is correct, which is easy to get wrong.
Mm.
And then know that the invariant is not maintained inside of the array itself. And third, since they are C-style arrays, they cannot be passed to functions, they cannot be returned from functions. So,
Yeah, they will
Okay.
decay into pointers. An old style cast is in C, this is the Java way of casting, where you
Mm-hmm.
put parentheses and the type in.
Yeah.
That's called an old style cast. That's C style casting, not C++ style casting. And with W old style cast, we WVLA W old style cast allow us to generate a warning for something we don't want being used.
Oh.
And then with W error, those are promoted to errors, so this acts as forbidding the use of a C style cast.
Okay.
yeah,
So like,
so there you go.
what?
Use of full style cast. Here you go.
I was gonna say, so like what Prof has right there. Um.
Yeah,
What?
that won't compile.
Yeah, highly recommend. I mean, Josh's comments here hit the nail on the head. I was just too lazy to customize my flat. Fuck.
Oh, I mean that's all right. It was just it was
And
just something
also,
to be
just
sure
for
to get.
clarity, I would even if you have set CMake CXX standard 23, I would still add a dash std equals C++23 in the flags. That's just a me thing more.
That is not portable, unfortunately, because frankly, this is also not portable. I should do something like if Unix
For
here,
sure.
and if.
Windows, the Win32.
Yeah, fuck the Windows people. They shall get no warning.
Fuck you! I'm on Windows, bitch. I'm a Windows user
Yeah,
for
you're
now.
cooked.
Until you eventually push me enough to get my fucking Linux up and going.
So yeah, this is just a recommendation to all people learning C and C++. The old style cast, if you're not using C++, if you're using C not C++, don't put it. It doesn't make sense and won't work anyway. But all the other ones should be on for every learner. They will force you to write at least not insane code. And if you do, you won't even be allowed to run it until you fix your mistake. And that's a good thing, I think. Because if you're allowed to run it, you will just move on, be like, oh, I'll fix it in 1 week. It becomes 2 months and 5 years, and then you're crumbling in warnings and problems in your code. Whereas if you're just forced in right here, right then, just fix it.
Hmm.
You just maintain a higher quality of your code base. And there are other flags, by the way. There are a lot of other flags. We're not showing all of them. There's one that you should not use. That's for Clang. That's W everything. That is turn
Yeah,
on
W
everything.
everything has annoying self-contradictory warnings, so
Yeah. Also the thing about just to be clear, W all, as you can tell, counterintuitively does not, in fact, turn on all warnings.
yeah.
That's something I always disliked about how it's called.
Hmm.
You would think so. It's W all, right?
Yeah. W all, I think, enables all of the warnings which the compiler developers believe signal a definitive error in your code, which is
Yes.
technically not,
Yes.
technically doesn't lead to ill-formed code, but for sure doesn't do what you want it to do. So if you have a warning on W all, you have an error in your program, which is why W error here is very serious.
So
So
something
so
also I was showing, I think, was it to you or was no, I was showing this to someone else. I think I was talking to you about this yesterday. Did I mention void in C++ versus C?
you talking about like passing the void in the parenthesis?
Yes.
Yes, you did tell me about
Yeah,
that.
it's this
Yeah.
to discard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you,
Yes.
you
So
you were
if I
telling me
do,
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
No. Yeah. So what I was saying, yeah. So what I was saying, right, is like in C, right? For all of you in chat, I never want to see your C code with a function that has no arguments but no void in between parentheses.
No
There's an
blank parentheses.
enormous what?
No blank parentheses.
Yeah, no blank parentheses. It's an enormous in C++ it's okay. But in C it is an enormous code smell because in C this doesn't mean no arguments, it means an unspecified amount of arguments. I could literally call with any amount or array of combination of types and arguments I wanted to that function.
yeah.
And this can even lead to stack corruption without the so be careful.
Mm.
Believe me, you don't want stack corruption. That's not a
Yeah,
fun, happy place
it's a
to be.
disaster.
That's
But that's
actually
why I code C++,
there's.
because in C++, I mean, it won't let you do this.
Mm. So, just out of curiosity, what can you as a compiler dev, um, what can you tell me about the JVM that could like blow my mind?
uh, well, I think one of the coolest things you saw with him, where I think at some point I mentioned that it used a byte for its opcode. So it has only 255 instructions ever for right until which is I think I think what's fun about the JVM is how it's designed for extremely fast stack execution, even more so than other VM languages. It's really like its stack-based approach is not when it was came out, it was something not new, but it was something very uh unusual. And it's not stack-based execution, but just doing that the way they did uh leads just to very, very fast performance on the stack.
Mm.
There's no, it's just for a VM. I mean, there are plenty of JVM implementations, right?
Yeah.
That's another crazy thing, right? It's kind of like JS, right? There's like a runtime that shows up every time you turn your forehead around. um,
Yeah.
what's there's fun ones. I mean, I think what's fun about the JVM is just the crazy interop stories you get between languages. Not just
Mm.
Kotlin and Java, but like Scala, Groovy, JPy, Jython, all of these. There's a lot of fun interop stories you get. Groovy. Any fan of dynamic programming, Java style in chat? That would hurt Glave, I'm sure. What do you think of the Groovy folks? The guys who
And
want Java.
Groovy, I
The
actually
guys who
I
want
tried
Java, but they don't want types.
yeah, I tried Groovy once. I tried a lot of languages, a huge amount, and Groovy for some reason disgusted me. So like, no, please.
I just to be clear, I'm not saying I'm a user, a big user of Groovy. It's just,
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't vibe with Groovy.
I've never, I don't
You
know.
know, like
I've
okay,
never
but
written
no,
Groovy.
please.
I've never written Groovy. Like the only relation I ever had with Groovy is Gradle.
Gradle. Yeah, Gradle.
That's my only interaction with Groovy.
Oh, here's a fun one for you. Did you know that Gradle can be used as a C++ build system?
Yeah, no, unfortunately.
Really?
Everything can be used as a C++ build system, and nothing should be used as a C++ build system.
Yeah, there's specific features of Gradle geared for C++, as they say.
Yeah.
That is
Here's a fun one
interesting.
for C++, actually. We refer to usually, you will hear me a lot around chats in general, referring to C++ as CXX. So that's because CPP historically refers to the C preprocessor,
Yeah.
not C++, and so to avoid any ambiguity, you'll see a lot of people, and also in manuals, just referring to referring to it as CXX and not C++.
Yeah.
Something I think fun we
Okay.
can talk about, which I think I'm gonna lose probably a bit, and which is fun, but we can learn.
Ooh.
Is we can talk a bit about Objective C and Objective C++.
Oh no! Oh God! No!
Is
Please,
that
God, no! Please.
is that Apple isn't that Apple's version?
Hop Tour.
It is Apple.
Oh
And
man,
Swift exists
man.
for a reason. Apple wasn't evil enough to let their programmers program Objective-C, so they were like, fine, we will grant them the release from hell that's Objective-C and make Swift for them.
But I genuinely think that
I don't,
I think
I don't know if I
since
can
we're
get
talking a
behind.
lot
I
about
don't
C
know
and
if
C++,
I can get behind the Apple conversation. I don't know if I like. I don't like Apple. I don't like them.
listen, but it's interesting historically, and it's an interesting language to discuss.
I
Oh,
I think it might interest maybe some of the C++ crowd. Um, the just to sum it up for people. Also, I see a lot of people being confused as to what Objective C++ is. Yes, that is in fact a language. But it's not really a language. Essentially, it is you have Objective C and C++ on the same source file.
mm,
So you have a section of your file that's Objective C and your section that's C++, and they have interop like Java and Kotlin style between both of them. Actually, fun fact for you guys, this one always blows everyone's mind when I reveal it.
let's go.
The Apple kernel is published under a Free Software Foundation and open source initiative approved license.
Yeah,
So
but can you actually boot it?
So is most of macOS.
Huh.
But can you actually boot it? Nuh-uh.
You can.
It's
They give
very
you
hard.
build. They give you build instructions, but the just to be clear, like what? So what's stopping me? Because there's clearly distribution macOS. macOS, to be clear, is a distribution of X and U, which is the Apple kernel,
Yeah.
right? X and U is X is not Unix.
Yeah.
So what's preventing me? Literally, it's on GitHub and it's always side if it's approved. I can literally clone it, right? What's
Hmm.
stopping me of just doing that? Two things. One, driver support. That includes very few limited driver support. So the chances are is your hardware is not going to play. You're going to have to add all the code to make your hardware play nice with the kernel. And the second part is the distribution in its most part is open source, although it's not in the development sense. Apple doesn't accept PRs, right? They just publish once a year the new version, right? It's that um the application frameworks that people use to make Mac apps like UIKit and Swift UI and all those are not open source. Those are proprietary. So even though
Hmm.
you could make macOS run most of its applications, which are written with these proprietary frameworks, UI frameworks, you could not run.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
for Apple, it serves a really important purpose, and this is something that will disappoint a lot of open source people. Why do you think, Lave, that they do this? Why is the code of macOS just on GitHub, but they have these gotchas in place?
I want to say it's a
It's a
sheer cost
PR.
piece, but probably a PR related issue or
PRs
related
are
thing.
closed. You can't even open. They don't care. No, it's because they get the best of both worlds when it comes to security. The reason it's open source is because they want security experts to be able to find all the vulnerabilities, so they get all the benefits of open source without losing the control.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which is a smart move. I must say, I don't like it as a open source person, but I gotta give them credit. It's not
Yeah,
a stupid
gotta
move.
give them respect.
I did actually find some QEMU setups to boot XNU, and I did manage to do it into just a shell
What is
on the QEMU.
what is it that
So
you're doing
so
right there?
I'm
let
just
me.
showing the Swift language, which is the less masochistic version of Objective-C.
That is Swift. I love Swift personally as a language.
I would love it if it worked on anything which wasn't macOS. And technically it works, but it doesn't have any library support.
It has library support. I you can run a web server from run Swift from
Yeah,
there.
it had only that. No,
That's
I don't know
interesting.
what is it called.
It has a pretty big. You can install anything from SPM too.
Vapor, right? It's called Vapor.
Yeah, Vapor, Kitura. There's a Vapor's awesome, dude. I love Vapor. No, actually, to answer chat, I'm slightly biased on this because Prof doesn't know this, but I myself am working to make Linux. One of my main bodies of work right now is making Swift sing on other platforms than macOS
Oh, nice.
and Apple. And most importantly, working on Swift C++ bidirectional interop alongside that, so you can mix C++ and Swift code seamlessly in your project.
Yeah, and that would be very nice because I mean C++ is very low level, and sometimes you really don't need that low level speed. You just want something to work, and then like the options are very limited, like Golang question mark. But that's garbage collected, whereas Swift is atomically reference counted. So it's a really nice.
And I like the language design of Swift a lot. The
Yeah.
language design is really up there. And also I like how easy it is to interop with C and C++ code with Swift.
Yeah.
It you can just import raylib and it's just so how fun and easy it is to get set up and run almost without any config.
I don't like that the parameters are named by default. It feels so weird.
For sure. So quick history. Objective-C was originated from Next Step in the 80s for folks. So that was the thing that Steve Jobs, when Steve Jobs quit Apple, he decided to make his own a new company called Next Step, which is where he did what would later become OS 10 macOS. But they also did a lot of things like application frameworks and this language and workstations and this language called Objective-C. And Objective-C is kind of like the syntax. It's like C. First, it's C with classes, but a different kind of C with classes. I think it's C with classes that would. It's like C with classes, but for the Java guys, because interfaces first class thing. Just its design of OOP is much closer to Java than it is to C++.
Yeah.
And also, it has an optional thing that was added later, which you would like. It has an optional garbage collector, and then, well, not really. It has an optional arc memory reference counting scheme. So even though
Mm.
the default Objective-C has pointers everywhere, of course, it's still very much a C-like language. You can opt in to have your memory automatically freed. Uh, and
I
actually,
like.
this was added because they wanted compatibility with Swift. Now, the syntax of Objective-C is very cursed. For instance, for calling a method, you don't do a dot. You put brackets around the whole thing. So you do a square bracket. Let's say I want to. let's say I have I said foo dot, if you want to do foo dot add 5, right? Instead of doing foo dot add 5 like some, I don't know, some normal guy, you do square bracket foo space add and 5 and close square bracket. And if you want to pass that to another thing, you have to enclose those brackets in another set of brackets.
Yeah, I don't have Objective-C set up here to
Okay.
demonstrate
Do
anything
you
because it's
do
beyond cursed.
are you able to share your screen, Josh? And
Yeah, I'm gonna show you.
given
I'm gonna show you
given
some Objective-C.
oh, blow my mind, baby, blow my mind.
Yeah, I mean, next step was a derivative of the original Mach kernel, no? At
Yes, it
Cornell
was.
University.
It was. That will
I mean,
later become Arca.
so because macOS cannot be booted on bare metal or hardware, so I could never actually program on it. So all I know about it is from reading rumors, which is again not a very good source. But as far as I
Let me
can,
switch. Wait. Let me not flashbang you guys.
yeah,
Okay, so here we are, right? Now, of course, so first of all, right, you can see
Whoosh,
this
there we go.
auto release at. Are they seeing my screen on
Yeah,
the stream?
Yep, I'm looking at it. I got
Okay,
it up.
so here you can see this at auto release pool, which is going to be the thing that's going to automatically free your memory. And also
Okay.
because it's next step, all the objects have NS. Most of the standard library things have NS prefix in front of them, including standard types. You will see NS int, NS long, NS string. And actually this was inherited by early versions of C where you'd have NS everywhere in your types, like of a standard library. But
NSWTF.
here you can look, you can here's some standard stuff, right? They're doing, right? But look. Look here, look at how they're calling their methods. I alluded to it earlier.
yeah. So that's
Okay, so
that's
This
the
is
just
calling a
insane.
method.
so that's putting the bracket, the square brackets.
This
What?
is the object, right? And that is the method they're calling on it.
Who decided this madness?
Look.
Oh
Yeah, well,
my!
then one of those people also decided maybe this is not good enough. We actually need
And
Swift
this
now.
is how, by the way, you pass the value.
Wait, is that was that something? What's okay? What is the colon, like add object colon at hello?
Where
So
Down below,
Mike,
down,
the
or
object, the
up.
object is the first thing in the parentheses. The
Right
that
there.
is
method is the second thing in the parentheses, and
yes.
everything behind the colon are the arguments to that method.
Okay, so that's arguments after the colon.
Yes.
So do all arguments have to start with at?
No, this is for literals. You can see them using it here. At
Okay.
2, at 1, and I think at things will be GC'd if I'm not correct. I'm not a professional Objective-C guy, so there's some limits to my knowledge on this, but I'm pretty sure that, let's see what it says about at. Yeah, you just put at. I think you just put at in general. At is an object. Wait, no, that's for strings. Okay, there. We're not gonna see. Also, by the way, Pascal case for your headers, that's unusual to see in C++ people.
Yeah.
Again, it's a weird version of C because you can see it still borrows, like, pretty much, you got pointers, you got it's still fundamentally C. Also, by the way, this would drive the Java people mad.
What the?
At try, at pro, at catch,
No.
at
Do
final.
they actually have
No.
proper stack unwinding? No, they don't. Okay, well.
No.
And by the way,
Is
this is a thing that C++.
everything and
You can do this with pure virtuals, but this
everything
is the
is
thing Java
at?
people would like.
Why is everything at?
Look at
I
this.
think it's because at is not part of the standard C character set, so they could be sure that
At
whatever is
private
after the at wouldn't conflict with future C keywords.
properties. Look, properties. Java doesn't even have these.
What the
Yeah.
fuck? What the
The
C
fuck?
computer
sharp B
properties that
go
was
burn.
talking about. Copy, read only, getter, setter. So you can probably tell why iOS developers wanted to move away from Objective-C.
Yeah, and it's diabolical.
Jesus. The casting, the at
And this,
end.
I
Oh my
mean, there's just
God.
no questions here. The C++ OOP model is objectively better at this point.
This is how you implement this.
What is the plus and
This is
minus?
stupid. This plus is implementing the interface.
Yeah,
No.
it's crazy.
What's the minus?
This is the C implementation my class, and they're implementing the features of an interface. You can see here. See here. Look here. Look. You see this? This is we're still in the interface, right? There's an interface here, and this is how they're defining the methods of the type. This is a method. This is a method. This is a class method. This is an instance method.
So minus is for instance. Okay, and plus is for
And
class.
plus is
for
static.
This is like a static method for you, and this is like a normal
Okay.
method.
Sweet nightmare.
Yeah, it is
And this is how
truly
you do
diabolical. I
constructors.
mean,
This is how you do constructors.
That's a construct.
Why do I
the one thing I have to
Why do I
ask,
constructor an interface? That's weird for Java people.
I have no idea.
No,
Crazy.
this is madness. This is madness. What the hell? What is this?
So do you want me to tell you? Do you want me to tell you a crazy story about Objective-C? Is the getting Swift, which is one of the most celebrated languages in terms of language design, right? Which is the successor to Objective-C. Literally, when when I'm in language design circles, they're actual professional languages, right? And some I won't say who they are, maybe to not name names, but they're
Don't scroll
yeah,
the
but
page
they're
until you're done. I have a question. No, don't scroll. Don't scroll. Go. Don't. I have a question when
okay.
you're done talking.
Okay, so the getting Swift, which is again one of the most the language which would supersede Objective-C, right? And it's again one of the most celebrated in terms of modern language design. It's a really beautiful language, right? Really expressive, really powerful, really fast. Anything you can imagine, right? The guy who made that is one of the great. I consider probably one of the absolute ghosts of compiler design. He had to fight internally at Apple to get Swift through. Why? Because everyone who went to Apple were all the Objective-C nerds. Everyone who worked at Apple as a software engineer was the Objective-C nerd. They were all at Apple because they loved Objective-C. That was the reason for them being employed. And the more you went up the leadership, the more they were even bigger Objective-C nerds and super fans.
That's crazy. I mean, who could
It's
enjoy this language?
And you
Jesus.
know what's even
Right.
funnier? They thought that the hearsay the what they said inside internally at Apple was the iPhone was successful because of Objective-C.
It's
That is
successful
That's
is
what they
a
believe. They
relative
believe
term.
that Objective-C was the reason the iPhone had been so successful.
So, okay, what is with the double parentheses if self equals super in it at the top of the screen?
Where?
Top of the screen.
Yeah. So
Why are there double parentheses?
I would not know. I would assume because they want to do this assignment, maybe because of how they have to. I'm not a super Objective-C expert.
But it just doesn't make sense to me if they're like the double why the double wouldn't it work with just a single?
Though what would be a really evil thing to do with someone is how we like to say that syntax usually carries over from language to new programmers.
Uh-huh.
Have them learn Objective-C and then joke, yeah, it's gonna be the same for all other languages.
Yes.
I wouldn't wish this on anybody. How the hell did somebody enjoy writing this language?
Yeah, and how the hell did people again bringing one of the most celebrated languages in design history, right? was a human challenge, not an engineering challenge. It was a human challenge. He had to prove, he had to appease all the Objective-C superfans that was going to be okay. Because they didn't want their knowledge to be reset to zero. That was the other thing, right? They were all at Apple because they were the greatest Objective-C people. They didn't want their knowledge to be all reset to zero.
My God.
I don't know. I mean, I have never
Anyway,
even peeked into
Chris
the.
Latner. Sorry, I'll just finish. Chris Latner has spoken at length about this. I'd encourage watching some of his podcasts. It's a great story. It's a great human story to go through.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that I've heard of it, and I've watched a lot of Chris Latner's talks, which is why I wanted to say. Unfortunately, I couldn't even dip a toe into the Apple ecosystem without buying their hardware, which I don't want because it had no use for me. But I listened to Chris Latner talk about both the design and obviously the human factor behind the Swift programming language. It's a really nice one, a really rare one. So if you look at the void of the let's say domain of ahead of time compiled languages to native code, there's really not that many.
So
Conceptually, maybe I should make a drawing again. Wait.
hold on. I'm
So
having my
By the way,
mind blown
yeah.
here again. What is with
Glave, imagine remember what I said originally? Objective-C++, Objective-C and C++ interoperating Java and Kotlin style in the same file.
Mm-hmm.
what is with this at interface car is an NS object. There's like no braces, and then you end this shit with an at end.
Yes, well that's pretty common. Actually, Ruby does this too. It's not a lot of languages do the end thing. I don't think it's a bad thing.
But is that like an inner? Is that an inner class? See, I'm just blown away by the large fact that everything is just in one file. Is that a
Yeah,
class? Like, why is that not a class file by itself? And this like
it could be.
implementation down. Like, oh my
Here's the
God,
funny
the
thing, right?
OOP.
Here they have the interface. Look, here's the funny thing, right? Here's the
I need
interface.
to
Here they
breathe.
implement that in a separate file.
I need to. Oh my God, I need to breathe. Holy fuck! What is with this? Oh my God.
Oh, this is for you. It's clean.
This is a nightmare, Mike. This is a nightmare, Mike. Okay, this is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. You'll wake up. You'll wake up. Come on now. Wake up.
So what I
Wake up.
wanted to basically show you is if you look at just a natively compiled languages, you have C++ probably here, you have I guess Rust here.
Well,
You're
even though
you're
you
not
can't see your screen.
Oh, sorry,
not.
I'm not streaming. I'm an idiot. Sorry.
I'm also gonna share something with
This is what I'm thinking right now. Okay, so if you look at explicit and rather easy,
Okay.
there it go.
Oh, I remember you wrote this out before. I remember this chart.
This is now only natively compiled languages, which I want to talk about. So,
Okay.
if there's Rust and then there's arguably Rust should be here, and then there's Zig, which is even further here. Right, so natively compiled, and then technically here in the very easy and very flexible, we have the C# native ahead of time compilation, which is very slow, or Kotlin ahead of time native, or Growl.
Would
I think you should.
Kotlin really be down there?
Yeah, it's very slow but it's flexible. And then Swift makes this.
I think we should be clear about something to people. All the languages he's put at the down there are still pretty fast. I just want to make that
all ahead of time compiled languages.
For sure, but they're still pretty fast. I want to make that very clear.
Yeah, they're all pretty fast. I mean, this is a trade-off, right? So if you want a lot of developer convenience, you're gonna have to sacrifice a little bit of performance. You just don't get everything for free.
So then Swift, you can get a lot of times 90% of the it can be a 98% of the performance. We just want to make that clear.
Yeah, and then Swift feels like it's a really nice middle ground here. It's decently explicit, but has a lot of features which are flexible. It's extremely fast. I mean, okay, Arc is questionable, but it's also quite easy. So Chris Latner really did a nice job with it, getting a really jack of all trades kind of language, to be
One
honest.
of the things that will hurt Glabé a lot. What does Chris Latner attack the most in his Swift language design is Java. Because one of the key ideas of Swift is the progressive disclosure of complexity. It's the idea that
Yeah.
hello world should just be print hello world with a single line, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
But if someone wants the craziest features, they can progressively discover them as they go. And it doesn't have to be like, all right, public class, main, public static, void, main string. Like, if you're a beginner, right? That's just so much more approachable. It's like you
Yeah.
can use
This
the features you
this
just
is why
learned and
this is
improve your
why I
code.
like this is why I like Java 25. You can just do void main and then the body of the code io print ln. Clean as fuck. I love 25.
Yeah, it's great.
Also, I was showing you this, right? This is the chess app, including in macOS.
Mhm.
Look at what the Objective-C set. Look at the reported languages by GitHub. 46%, 45% of it is Objective-C++.
Damn.
Just
We can even click on it and go look a bit. So by the way, .m. So
Whoa,
in you
MM.
got .c, .cpp, .cc. A single m is an implementation file for. There's still header files, right? But for the source files, Objective C is m, and Objective C++ is mm. So you can go here.
What?
This is Objective C.
Okay. Okay.
This is a very simple Objective C program. Plus plus program. Actually, it's not Objective C. It's Objective C++.
What is the
Uh,
what the
so
wait a
here we'll
minute.
see
what
them
is
mixing Objective
what is
C
the
plus.
difference between what is the sorry.
All this makes me think is people are roasting Microsoft for their terrible C++ code. And I've been doing that myself. I take that back.
What is the difference between Objective C and Objective C++? Because I didn't even know that
Objective C++
Objective C++.
is where you have C++ and Objective C in the same file, in different locations of the same file.
I didn't even know
And they are
Objective C++
interoperating with
was
each
a
other
thing.
like Java and Kotlin. Yeah,
Okay.
again, this is how you scare newcomers. This.
Scare newcomers, dude. I'm a fucking veteran, and I'm getting kind of scared. Well, not a veteran to this, but like
45% of chess is Objective C++. Only
Jesus.
15% is normal Objective C, and then there's 28% of C.
Wow.
And probably the C is just the header files. Oh no, there is some actual C. There are some actual just C files. There is some calm to the madness, right?
And
Okay.
talking, by the way, I also wanted to talk about something now that we're talking about Apple's platform, which again I don't have any influence on. As far as I can tell, the current like Mac OS is mushing together of uh, Mac and uh,
BSD.
of Mac and BSD.
Yeah,
So
FreeBSD.
yeah, I took a look at like at least the list of system calls, and it looked very like doubled all over the place. Like there's always a Mach API to do something, and then a BSD
Yes.
API to do the same
Yes.
thing.
And
So
confirm.
bloat. I'll be right back.
All right, I'll be right
Unacceptable.
back.
Unacceptable.
By the way, this you can see what it says at the
Jesus.
top. Mac OS.
Huh. That's a
Those are all the
lot
sub
of.
projects.
I was gonna say that's a lot of submodules.
Yeah. Well, you need them if you want an OS, right?
Mm,
It's a distro. It's a distro, but not a Linux distro. The kernel. Oh, the kernel is here.
I've never looked into
And you
like
can see the build.
I've never actually looked into code like this. Like I've never gone exploring through. I don't know why I haven't.
Why is there a PR
Huh?
in 2022? Lol. I bet he never got it. Did he get? Yes.
No conflicts. Huh.
He tried to open a PR against the old Apple OS team. They probably were like, that funny guy. And also, by the way, it's for you. Although this one is not exciting because in here they
iOS.
don't give you anything. They don't give you
Oh,
anything.
what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, and they don't allow you to develop for their platform at all, except from inside their platform, right?
No, that's not true.
And I tried to cross compile a
You
app
can
to.
cross compile the Mac OS.
I had no success with it. I needed to eventually reach into a Mac OS machine myself.
This is a cool project though that originates from elsewhere, but that was one of the main Apple open source ones. This is a Miradell of it, right? A WebKit seriously is a very cool project. Has it had a lot of security vulnerabilities over the years? Yes, but is it really performance tailored? Also, yes. WebKit
Also, by the way, I
is
have to ask something.
yes.
Now that you mentioned cross compiling, is it possible to cross compile for iOS?
No. You
Yeah,
can
okay.
cross compile for iOS, but you can't sign the binary.
Yeah, and you can't really run. I mean, even if I cross compiled for macOS, I can't sign the binary, no?
No, but you don't need to sign a binary. macOS is a complete. I have a. I think you can I'd have to find you how to do it, but my Mac has modified bootloader options to its OS. I re-enable 32-bit execution in the kernel.
Why does that not surprise me?
Yeah, but that's like a miss. If I want to create an app for like some like okay, let me just rant for 10 seconds and then I'll stop ranting. So like my parents use macOS for their laptop, and I wanted to make them a very trivial GUI app. I decided for C# because their GUI is very easy. Cross compiled because .NET allows it to cross compile. Send it over to the macOS, refused to run it.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Yes. What version of .NET did you use?
10.
What workload did you use?
And 10, I don't know what workload. Avalonia is the name of the library? What do you mean workload?
So .NET has several components for several platforms. You have to be aware of this.
I have no idea. I mean, it refused to run it until I went and like manually wrote a plist info.plist file, packed it into a .app, and then
Yeah.
manually told macOS to run it.
Normally the framework should generate that for you, but you don't need to do that. macOS is still very much Unix based. You can just chmod your file and just execute it.
It doesn't. No, you can't because you don't get the GUI then. So just chmodding it. I tried that on the macOS file. It just
Sure,
refused to run.
it will run if the user allows such things to be. It's off by they have to approve it by default.
Yeah. So.
But it's which honestly is not a bad design decision.
So
Yeah, just getting my let's say virtual machine based program, like CLR based program to run with a pain, which is
Something
surprising.
interesting though, I think that's fun pointing out. This is going to be for more higher level programmers. It's fun is macOS actually doesn't ship not only with Python but also ships with Ruby out of the box.
does it?
And
But
yeah,
not with Clang, annoyingly.
yeah, you need to
Clanky.
install extra.
Sorry.
Which is funny because Clang, yeah. So Ruby ships after you install developer tools. That's the only thing. It's like most things on macOS, you need to install the base developer tools. But once you have that right, you will just have uh, a lot of Mac scripts are Ruby scripts because of that, right? It's kind of like a lot of a lot of Linux scripts are Python, right? Because there's the assumption that Python is available. Same for there. It's like Python is available and Ruby is also available. And actually, the main package manager, if I recall correctly, is a Brew. I'm pretty sure uses Ruby quite a bit under the hood. And if you guys have never programmed in Ruby, probably Prof is gonna hate Ruby. But I think if you want the
I did
most
try Ruby. I like it. It's a beautiful language. I mean, the designers.
if you like meta programming so hard, that you wanna I'm not the Ruby expert, but there was one guy I know someone who definitely is, and he could literally by inserting a keyword he had invented in his template language, then define an entire security route for that route. He just had to put one thing, and through metaprogramming magic in his template, it would automatically protect the route.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah, Ruby is really, really a nice language. I mean, among the high-level languages, it's one of the most pleasant ones I've
What
seen,
does
and
what
clearly
does
has its place.
Ruby
What
put forward?
what is Ruby's use cases? Like what? Like I've never
I mean,
used.
Ruby
I've
puts forward what do they call it? A developer's friend? Is that what they say?
No, they say maximize developer happiness. That's Ruby's
Yeah,
mode.
maximize developer. Yeah, there you go. I
I've
got
never.
the term. Yeah.
I've never used nor seen Ruby before, so like I'm not.
I mean, I think you saw it earlier because I showed you a tiny bit.
Mm.
Were you there? No,
Um,
you were there.
there was a.
Earlier in Java.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. What was the question?
Oh, I was just gonna say that earlier in the chat there was I think a question about asking like what was our most like I think what was your favorite or like most fun project you worked on? I think it was the coding guy that asked that.
I'm gonna be cheesy, but it's the one I'm working on right now. But that's the honest answer though, so. I think the closest I got is my IDE project, but my IDE project sort of like got sidelined and evolved progressively into the compiler framework project. That was my main
Hmm.
body of work. So yeah.
Are you able to talk about your current project?
Yeah, it's all open source. I mean, we even had a call for designers and people like that because we love to we recognize the value of people. We want to get people who think they can contribute to a compiler project to realize they can help us out because a big open source project is not just code, it's docs, it's testing, it's marketing, right? A lot of people like to say, oh, marketing, like, oh no, right? But
Hmm.
it really is important if you want your framework to be somewhat successful in some ways. So
So
about the framework specifically, I will give the abridged version. It's a framework that's about decoupling. It's a framework that essentially in traditional compiler design you have, we set a front end, a middle end, a back end. You go through usually an intermediate representation or two intermediate representations sometimes, and you go to assembly, right, and then machine code, right. So what we've said in our frameworks, we completely decoupled the system. So there are essentially these interfaces between all these pieces.
hmm.
I can choose what optimizer I want. I can make one of the puzzle pieces. I don't have to make the whole package. So let's say I want to write a front end for Java, right? I can write the front end for Java, and then someone can upstream that front end, and then someone else can work on a runtime bit. Essentially, we've made a set of interfaces that allow all the pieces of a big compiler to work together and be completely decoupled. So if someone wants to go from Java to C without going through IR or assembly, I don't know why you would do that. You totally can, as long as you implement the interface. And assembly and IR are just language. They're just like there's no backends in our framework. There's front ends, there's language and instruction sets. You implement them. You implement a compiler, an assembler, a disassembler, a translation layer. You implement an optimizer, a program
Hmm.
optimizer. And so that's like aspect one of the framework. And aspect two is being batteries included. It's the
Hmm.
idea that, my end goal is that it should take you 1 hour to be able to implement a language, which is crazy.
That is wild.
Yeah.
So, and we're doing a lot of stuff to make that happen. First, you don't have to do the middle and back end stuff because, of course, it's kind of like LLVM in the sense that you can just use LLVM's optimizer. You can use GCC optimizer. You can choose your. It's about choice because unlike a compiler that forces you to use an optimizer at runtime, our system there is a library but also a daemon version where a user can literally choose what front end or what optimizer they want to use for their compile run. Like at runtime, they can choose the pieces they want to use if for the project that they're doing.
Mm.
And also, we hope this increases competition. And also, the reason we're doing this is because some front ends are more, are faster, and some front ends give you more better errors, but are slower, right? Because they have better recovery, right? So we're allowing you to have the flexibility of choice. And so it's batteries included. We give you most of the puzzle of the things you would need for a compiler, including like resolvers, type checkers. Like a lot of this stuff is super easy. And we also try to make lexing and parsing fun, but I don't like generators. I'm not a fan of generators. So what we do instead is we give you the option for generators, but something really cool I'm working on, but it's still very prototypey, is essentially composition. A lot of languages
Mhm.
have C style identifiers. A lot of languages have curly braces. And, they have classes, right? So you can say to our system, hey, my language has C style identifiers, and the
Mm.
Lexer and the tokens, like you just extend that C style identifier that's auto registered, and the Lexer automatically is able to handle it. It's that easy. And the idea is we're going to have a scaffold command that allows you to auto generate a lot of these things. So like literally, you can say my languages use X, Y, and Z from all the other languages. Ooh, oh,
Prof had
did he say he had to go?
yeah, he messaged us in the group chat saying he had to
Okay.
take off in a few minutes. That's okay. We can keep going or we can wrap up. Depends on
Yeah.
how you're
So
doing.
yeah. But yes, so it's about decoupling. It's about really batteries included. Again, we make it so that you don't even have to think about LSP and IntelliJ support and all that. You get that for free as a developer out of the box, which
Now,
is really fun.
I'm looking in and I'm focused in on your screen right now since Prof left.
Oh, there's nothing going on. There's nothing going on.
No,
I was just looking at that.
I was just gonna ask if there was anything that you could show us as an example of your framework that might.
Sure. Well, I can show you bits and pieces. To be honest, of course we're working on it, right? But it's
Hmm.
still, I would say it's not in a super duper early, but it's still quite early stage of development. Um, I could show you free upvotes on the post I did 1 day ago. That's nice. um, yeah, you can see here the stuff. There's all our projects. Ooh, look at them!
Okay.
Look at all the projects I'm working on. There's the main one, of course. There's the main one. And
Okay.
show it to chat. Bit. Let's pull up C line, right? Again, very prototypey. Keep that in the back of your mind, right? We're literally designing. We're making API design decisions right now, right? And because we're a lot in the API design phase, we have started implementing a lot of it, but
Oh.
we're still. So let's go into this. Ooh, look, you see things here happening. So
Mm.
you can see here we have it we have divided stuff. So here is so very simple stuff. For instance, you can see me prototyping of trying to make some prototypes here at the bottom. Another thing we're doing is we're promoting upstreaming. So the idea is not that when someone has made a good front end or a good optimizer, they can just upstream it like the Linux kernel. The idea is like the Linux kernel,
Hmm.
you download it and you get all the languages in the box that have been upstreamed. So like Linux ships with all the kernels in the box. The idea is someone could an end user, they're not even a developer, they could download a soft down thing, right? And they could get all these languages like just bundled.
I don't like the naming of the files. I don't like this.
Listen. Very, very, very C++ style.
I'm gonna twitch a little bit here. That OCD is
But
kind of twitching.
this will go away if I do this. You can see here some stuff. Here's an instruction set. Again, very simple thing. Something cool we do is so this is more talking from a memory perspective. Instruction set is the owner of the instruction set. So our framework makes two major distinctions between a language and a instruction set. So the only difference between these is that an instruction set is a binary format and the language is a string-based format, so a character-based format. But we support both, so there's machine code is supported natively in the framework, like all binary encodings are as well. Here is that language front end, and look, you can see a lot of things here. Now something that will scare the hell out of the Java people is these friend keywords. What the hell is a
What the
friend in C++?
Yeah, what the hell is a friend? I don't even have friends in real life. Like, what's this?
So a friend allows you to designate a target as being allowed to access your private members, but this only applies to the target and not those who inherit from the target. So why would you use this? The question, and this is a good example. For instance, here we have at the top we have a bunch of things that store
Sweet
what
baby.
assemblers, what disassemblers, what language compilers are capable of targeting. Oops, those are templates. Go. There you go. That's gonna
Sweet
be easier to
baby
read.
fuck.
So here we have all the attributes, right? And you'll see we have directions, so we can, what language front ends can I target via an implementation? Again, these are slightly different versions of these terms, but they're not really. A front end is a thing that can internalize the data structure of someone's code, right? And in our framework, the compiler just means it's something that can take the internal state of one language front and output into the internal state of another language front end. That will do take in a Java AST and output a C++ AST from that Java AST. And so
And you
here you
wonder
see all
why.
the directions.
And you wonder why Tonic Box says you're intimidating. Like,
So
Jesus, like, damn, dude. This is
so
why this episode is titled "Talking to the Smartest Person I Know."
so the reason we use friend actually is for a really clever thing, because here's what we do, right? If you look at the implementation of assembler, right? Not the implementation, not this is the API of it, right? There's that exception. Custom exceptions. You're gonna soon see those in your own code.
What is
uh,
virtual? What is virtual?
virtual means that which can be overridden.
Oh, okay.
This is important because assembler is an abstract class. It's not set explicitly, but this equals 0 is how you say that this method is abstract. Very not
Oh,
readable.
okay, I think Prof told me that. I was like, what the fuck?
And
Why isn't
because
it
this
a
is
key?
abstract, this disassembler is a good practice, needs to be virtual because subclasses
Okay.
should be able to call the superclass destructor. That should be a good idea. But if you look at the implementation of set
Mhm.
assembler, right, you will see what we do is because of friends, you just pass in the front end that's the target, right? Assembler goes from what does an assembler fundamentally do? It goes from a text-based format to a binary format, right? That's
Hmm.
what it's doing. So there's a language front end as a source, and there's a machine code front end as a target, right? And so what we do is we register. If you look at set front ends, we register. We go into the language front end and the machine code front end, and we broadcast that this translation is now supported. These objects found at the lowest level of our framework are made. You didn't have to register. You didn't have to register your thing to, like, you just say I support this translation, and the language front end, the machine code front end you said you support a translation from and to are aware of your implementation instantly, because as soon as you will inherit from this, you will call this constructor, and this constructor will change these attributes. But because of the friend system, only our base classes can do this. you can't change this. So it's still very encapsulated in the sense that only these base classes, these ring of base classes, can register themselves in memory. But someone gets that registration for free by inheriting from the base classes, but they don't get to change it or play with it, which would introduce problems. Maybe it's a bit abstract. I hope I'm making some sense as to what's going on. Maybe optimizer is much easier. See, in optimizer, I think in optimizer you'll see here. So if you look at optimizers here, so here you see the optimizer optimizes the state of a front end. You can see that language front end.
Okay.
So an optimizer optimizes over a front end, right?
Okay.
An optimizer will change the internal state of a front end in our interface in our framework, right? To make it faster. Like we'll rework the code to make it faster.
So is that
So if we look,
is that kind of like the JIT and how it like optimizes code?
it's more like you say that an optimizer, it's just an interface, right? You say that an optimizer in our code base is anything that will change the internal state of the code to make it inherently faster, right? That's what would happen in an optimizer normally. It's just it would happen over an intermediate representation, which is an imaginary language that the compiler uses, right? Instead we just say this, instead of having, you can use an IR, like language front end could be an IR language, right? And the optimizer could be over an IR language, but this is just generic. It can be over any, like you can make an optimizer for the Java front end, you can make an optimizer for your IR. Again, pure decoupling, super flexible. I think people will enjoy that. And so, but if we look at how I've set it up, right, with the encapsulation thing, I think here it's much more obvious.
Not to cut you off there, but we have a question in the chat from the coding guy asking, what is the front end .hh extension?
HH. So HH is used to make it obvious that it's a C++ header. See, if we just did .h, a C programmer could be mistaken into thinking they can include that in their C code, and it will compile. It will not. It has C++ syntax in it. So .hh is just a way to make it completely unambiguous. This header file contains C++ code in it, and that syntax will crash in the C compiler. So don't try to use it in a C compiler.
Okay. Makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense to you, coding guy. Let us know if it doesn't.
But yeah, here you see the registration, right? The front end knows what optimizers it has, right? You can see here there's these attributes optimizer, right? It has the hash map of optimizers, right, that are registered, and a set of optimizers that are also registered, right? And so just by extending the optimizer class, right, and providing the type, the super call, this invokes this registration on your behalf, right? So the super class takes care of registering the optimizer to the front end, right? But this is a private field. But the optimizer is a friend of language front end. The optimizer class is a friend. So that means that the base class optimizer is allowed to register and unregister from the front end, as you can see in the destructor. It unregisters here.
Okay.
So, but encapsulation is still kept because extending optimizer does not give you're not friends. The friend status is only our optimizer, not those who will inherit from optimizer. That's what we're doing, right? We're modifying the internal state of front end, right, to register ourselves to it, right? Without exposing further those fields. But making it really seamless to the user, right? Because these are not internal, right? We could, in another language, we would have probably have to resort to these attributes being internal. But the great thing about friend is we can keep them private. Or
Uh,
actually, I think protected in this case, and not expose that to the entire rest of our code base.
hmm.
Again, it's something you have to use with caution, right? People like to use it for their testing sometimes because they like to. Sometimes people use friend to they friend their test classes so that their test classes can make sure that some private attributes are what they're supposed to be. Not something you should do if you don't want to violate some design principles, but some people do that.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean this gives you a taste of what we're working on. There's a lot of stuff like if you go, this is just the base interfaces, right? But of course it said batteries included, right? So
Hmm.
we're working to really cool thing for our nodes is they are all bundled. So we have a type system where you create the internal, the root, the leaf, and the base node of a language. So let's say C,
Hmm.
and like IntelliJ, the language injection feature in IntelliJ,
Yeah.
that stuff is built into the framework.
Oh yeah.
Someone can inject a sub language and it's completely type safe.
Oh
And their
nice.
visitor patterns work with it.
That's very nice.
So we've done that, and we're also doing work for interoperability. Our job is to make Java Kotlin style interop really easy. And if you guys are curious how that works in the real world, there are a lot of ways to do interop, but one of the main ways is to do AST injections, which is where you essentially inject. Let's say I have Java and Kotlin. I essentially translate the Java stuff into a Kotlin tree, and then I paste that into the Kotlin compiler's Kotlin tree, and then that Kotlin compiler takes its Kotlin things and pastes it as Java in the Java tree. So they inject the missing pieces as subtrees of their respective trees. And so we're trying to make that process very seamless. And then there's other stuff like resolvers, which you're annoyed by because you get errors all the time. Like, oh, I have no stuff is not resolved. What is going on? Where are my dependencies? Why they're not
Hmm.
working, right? There's a lot of stuff like here's a lexing, a lot of stuff that's more compiler friendly. Lexer back to all the lexers for your lexing pleasure right there. um, and a lot of cool stuff like automatically
Hmm.
updating buffer parser. Who needs to do stuff when we can automatically update it for you? So yeah, we're doing a lot of cool stuff and a lot of even more cooler stuff. Again, we're really trying to provide the Ruby on Rails of the Django of compiler development,
Hmm.
so that we can have a community that's very competitive. We can have more competition to language space, and we can have someone who wants, the way I put it is someone who wants to work on just runtimes, they can work on just runtimes. They don't have to work just on they like if someone wants to spend their life making the best Java runtime, they don't have to write the front end. They can use someone's awesome front end they love and write the runtime because of the interface system, right?
Hmm.
And that's just very, very cool, right? Develops an ecosystem that's competitive. And also very powerful things, right? This could be used as an emulator. We can't legally can't
Now,
legally say that, but
I
you
do
could.
have to, I do have to question using because we don't actually have that in Java.
That's just a type alias in this case. So
Okay.
and I'm just aliasing T tree grouping internal as internal type.
So is that similar to var?
That's like essentially me creating another name for a type. Like like in Java, you rarely have this problem. But let's say you had some really long type name, right? That you didn't
Yeah.
want to type in every time. You could just say like using small shorthand equals this long type name, and now you can use a shorthand in your class for this type. You can see us using this a lot. Internal
Okay.
node, right? I could have just I
Cause like
I could have
I would
said
have
this,
done
right?
I would do something in
You could have
Java.
done this.
I would have done something
right?
in Java like
They're the same.
var internal type
Yeah.
equals this. Uh-huh.
That's the root node, right? You see a lot of other nodes. There's a lot of this is a more advanced generic speaking. There's a curiously recurring type pattern going on here for those who know that. Because there's generic dependencies in both ways, so this is a way of getting around that, where you have some part of the generic constraints resolved first, and then the other ones are deferred until later.
Hmm.
Um, Because otherwise you have the problem A depends on generic constraints of B, right? But B generic depends on generic constraints of A, right? And this can be a problem to solve.
Hmm.
But we do it.
So
So yeah, we do a lot of stuff.
now, what was your favorite like passion project that you've done? Like something that not necessarily you've done for work for like financial gain, but just something that you've just done for the sheer pure love of doing something.
I think most of the stuff I do, honestly, for the pure love of it. But
Yeah,
I mean, you can tell, right? You
I'm
can
kind of
tell.
this I'm kind of the same way when people ask me that question. I've just been asked that before, and it's pretty much the same
Yeah.
thing. It's like I don't know
I do
what like.
something you might not realize. I do. You think all the stuff I do here is crazy? I run for purely as a voluntary one of the larger esports orgs. Their
Yeah,
entire game dev
what?
and dev.
You know what? I never asked that of you yet. Like, and I'm kind of curious, and feel free to I'm just walking away to grab coffee. Feel
Yeah,
free to
so
not
they're one of
answer
the
this.
larger esports. Well, I'm
Hold
gonna
on,
go back on stream. I hope that's
hold on. So what do you do? Like, what is your job, or like, are you independent? Like, what?
um no, I for now I deliberately deliberately work on my own open source work. That's what I consider to be my job, right?
Okay.
I'm lucky enough financially to be allowed to do that, which I know is a privilege that few people can have. Uh,
I sort of kind of have that myself in the sense that like
yeah,
due to my health, I'm unable to work,
right,
but like I'm on a government check, so
right,
like all of my like needs are covered. So
right. So
it does give me the freedom to work on what I
I
want.
I I think I view coding as a I call my workplace the studio. People joke I'm like the artist, and
Mm,
in some ways it's kind of true. Like I do the projects that really creatively inspire me, and so like for instance we are. I run a game development shop that was like 10 people, on the side. And also all the projects are attached to one of the larger esports org, which is really
mm,
fun because I'm working on like a super creative game there, which I'm not going to talk about.
mm,
Releasing at some point, and one of the cooler things I've that's kind of failed. It's not really failed, but it's more of a I need to refocus on it to make it succeed. Is I essentially took one of my favorite game community. Well, I'm a big part of the Xeno community, for those who don't know that, and I essentially told the entire community, "Hey, let's band together and make a game. Like
mm,
let's just all come together." I messaged 30 YouTubers, like thousands of people got pinged on Discord. It's like let's all come together as a giant community. Let's make a game.
mm,
Let's make an IP. Let's make something that we can be proud of because we love these games. So let's honor the games we love while still being legally distinct and having an IP. Wouldn't that be amazing? And also, I was trying to do this because a lot of artists are very, protective. They like their copyright and stuff, right? And so this was me trying to show them the fun of open source without telling them it was open source.
mm.
Like showing how
So
fun it is to all come together and just collaborate on something for you, just for fun.
what are some of the what are some of the challenges that you've like overcome as a developer? Because like you're definitely deep into some shit that's like way above my level. Um,
uh,
and like
I
I
think
myself had a bunch of struggles, and like I'm and challenges, but like,
yep, I think some of them are fairly common. No, of course, no one was. No, at some point, I was just a guy opening my first Python file, actually, Python's first language.
I
No,
cracked open I cracked open the old terminal at the back in the
yeah,
2000s and
yeah.
2000
My best friend in programming, seriously, he got so good into programming because he had a really bad ThinkPad from 2002 as his only computer, and he
Mm,
it couldn't even run Windows and VS Code. He was forced to use Linux on the terminal, and he was forced as a young person to learn. Like I think at 8 or 12 years old, he was forced to even learn the command line to be productive with a computer. He had no choice. His computer didn't have the resources for anything else. But um the I think the challenges for me were mostly social sometimes, I would say.
mm.
Growing up, just in general. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I've struggled a lot quite a bit socially. Also in high school because I was the nerd pretty much and I
Yeah,
was very nerdy already.
I can relate to that. Like going through school, like I had everybody knew who I was, but like I didn't have like a clique or like a group to hang out with. I kind of had like two or three people that like I would hang out like with, I guess, at school. But then like once I got out of school, I didn't really have anyone that I would like hang out with. So like I quite literally was in my parents' basement with my computer because I had it was my friend.
Yeah. Yeah, I relate a lot to that. I mean, there was a place I described, my computer is like we're partners in crime, my best friends,
Hmm.
that's how I described it to people. It's like, so I have a
Mm,
spiritual connection to my computer.
mm.
It's always very important to me.
Yeah, because
Um,
I also had a very discouraging upgrowing or like upraising in the fact
right.
that like I was like I was encouraged to fail. I was encouraged to quit. Nothing I did was ever good enough. Nothing I ever accomplished was like it inspired pride. Like nothing was good enough. So and when I did something that I wanted to do that I felt um, I had some pride in. I was told that it would get me nowhere. It was pointless. It would do this. It was that. It would never make me any money. Yada yada. I should focus on something else. So I was encouraged to quit just about everything I ever did. And so my computer was about the only thing that I could control. It was the only like world that I could escape to, um, and feel
And
like I
it
feel like I
really
had
is a
control.
magical device.
Hmm.
You can do almost anything with it.
It really
That's
is.
what I know. And now it's funny. The irony I say to people, right? It's still like, it it has an air of magicness to it, even though in the position I am, I know exactly how it works fundamentally. You can it's kind of a weird I think it's kind of like how you know that the human body is fundamentally a machine, but
Mm.
it's so intricate and powerful that it becomes, kind of a magical thing to think about, right? Like the inner workings of the mind and all that. All philosophy. It's kind of the same with my computers, even though. But serious, I think the other thing for me was just I've always been a very creative and ambitious person,
Mm.
and I think when I got more into computer school, right, the challenge there was more like first it was I went to school with a lot of very smart and amazing people. Someone as a fur of a fourth as an intern was so good that he was tasked to work on the next operating system for one of the major um ISPs of my country. That's
Okay.
not a small job at all. That's like, you know,
I never
but
had the
he had made
I never had the pleasure to go to secondary school, and like through through high school we never had computers. We never had computer classes.
yeah, this was mostly in, I would say like higher level education
Mm.
for me. I just went to a place that's very known for having, uh, unfortunately, one of the more hardcore curriculums, which was a good thing for me from a learning perspective.
Mm,
But also very few, a lot of people dropped out very early because they couldn't survive that. Because a lot of it, I think my criticism at school is it was pretty insane, but I think it's more like it was kind of a are you good enough tests rather than truly
mm,
learning. My main critique was like if you weren't actually already somewhat a programmer, you basically it's not that you had no shot, it was very hard because when you're asked to write, I won't go into the details, but it goes very fast, very hard. Vim and Emacs only, by the way, in exams.
damn, truly
And
killing you.
also, and a lot of other stuff like writing your own. Some people learn, they come in and 6 months later they're asked to write a shell, and then 4 weeks later a compiler, and then they've already written like their own mallocs, their own like they're asked to learn C in 2 weeks. It's a fun time. Let's put it that way.
Mm,
um, the but the so that was a very I would say that was good because I was so passionate about IDEs specifically and being passionate about analysis in IDEs. Like I wanted to know how IntelliJ people built their crazy analysis in IntelliJ, and I kept reading all their blogs and all that. And that combined that with a very low level education, right, was kind of
mm,
a what birthed me. And then but the other real challenge, so going back challenges, was more like it was I was surrounded by very, very smart programmers and I was quite, I was quite, I was still, I would say I was in a weird position where I was realistically, I was very knowledgeable already, like extremely knowledgeable as a programmer, but I didn't
mm,
have as much practical experience, right? And so, sometimes that got into the way, right? This weird contradiction with people, right? You knew a lot, but when you actually were in practice, you would do pretty well, but not as well as like top echelon, right? So I was always, I would always say, I was always included in people, the very smart group, but I was often like more the bottom of the smart group, which is a weird
mm,
position to be in.
mhm,
Um, and it just felt, yeah, I was just very ambitious, and I struggled to meet the ambitions of my programming for a long time.
mm,
Now it's become reality, but it took a long time for me to be able to deal with it that way. And I think the other problem is just I'm a very creative person. I like to, I have a lot of crazy ideas of how I can make the world better. And the problem is that sometimes those get in the way of what you're asked to work on.
mm,
And yeah, that was another big problem. There was a big conflict in what I wanted to work on and what the school wanted me to work on.
mm. I struggled a lot with mental health with my programming as well because of my upbringing and the fact that I never felt never felt like I was good enough, never felt worthy, never felt like. So that's also kind of related to me right now. It's currently something I still feel very um, I still
Yeah, I
struggle
mean, I
with
think
because, like, for example, people like you, people like Tonic, people like Prof, people like Ethan. Um, you all, quite frankly, intimidate the hell out of me and impose a little bit of imposter syndrome. And it
you
does
know it's
like to this day, like I still like and I
the
mean, see, I had 30 years of being basically drilled in that I'm not good enough, and I've had about five-ish, 6-ish years of trying to overcome that and drop that weight and realize that I am worth it. But like I still come into places where I feel like these people are smarter than me, like you guys, for example, and I just get hit with a wave of imposter syndrome, and it's like I hear these voices from my past, almost whispering in my ear, like you're not good enough. you're not like these people. These people are above you, and like I struggle with that right now, and
Think the
trying
thing
to
to always
overcome that.
remember is knowledge can be acquired and practice can be gained for almost anything it is. And I like to say that to lots of people, like, just because you are not where I am at now, doesn't mean you could not go and
Hmm. And
learn a
like
lot
I have this
about
mindset
it.
because of my upbringing and how I was kind of
Right.
raised and like mentally abused, we'll say. Um, I have this thing where I try extremely hard not to compare myself to anybody else and to only compare myself to myself yesterday. So that I only ever try to be better. However, I use other people rather than trying to compare myself to them. I use them to see where they're at, and I try to set goals for myself so that I can try to make myself reach where I want to be, if that makes any sense.
Something, yeah, something I do a lot in the compiler world, is I'm a very big advocate of getting new people in. I I brought in, I brought in someone who is known for their cursed JavaScript skills.
Mm,
Like someone who's like, someone who's like, not I won't he's a master of JavaScript, but JavaScript is his thing, right? Not someone you would associate with that, right? The other people, I've kind of infused them with my passion of language stuff,
mm,
and I'm a very big. I'm sometimes on Discords. Like I literally posted on Discord. I should share this with you. It was kind of nice, but I shared something along the lines of, you know, we're not wizards. You backend people. You guys think OS devs, compiler guys are wizards. We're not. I'm very bad at your stuff. We all come together to make software it is, and also you can totally, you can get the experience and you can come into our world, and we're always open to seeing new faces. I try really hard to, because I think there's very few people, and I understand why there's very few people who go into it. But I try very hard to dispel the stereotype that you need to be, someone
mm,
like me or my partner, right, to be involved. You can be. I'm hoping to do a talk soon where I bring up a lot of people who have gone into the compiler world, from me, who were, had a higher level background. That's kind of, showing to people like, you see, look, you can do it.
mm.
And it's not as hard, and if you just apply yourself a bit to it, you can you don't have to stay to toy projects. And I just think I personally would like to see that just change a lot in general.
Mm.
Actually, I'll just show you literally. This is more on for those who want to read. I can read you even what I said. I'll just post it in the Discord. I posted this originally, on the boot.dev server actually. Because there's a lot of beginners there, right?
Mm.
Um, oh, where can I speak?
You can throw it in
General chat.
general. Yeah,
General chat.
throw it in general chat.
It's a big thing. But this is this is what I had to say. It's a quite a long message, but essentially it boils down to what I said. And again, it's something I can encourage all of you is, not really to go into compilers. Like if you're a master of CSS, like that's something I really envy. Like
See,
if you do crazy distributed backend systems, it's something I wish I had.
I
Um,
see. I very much stuck with Java. I've tried to explore other languages, but I very much stuck with Java, and I got hooked on it in 2001, and here I am 25, 26-ish years later, 25 years later, still working with it, still learning it, but like I very much nowadays deal with and do like uh, REST APIs, microservices, deal with larger chains, deal with things like Kafka and like uh, Docker networks and all sorts of fun shit actually. But I'm actually
It's a big ecosystem, right?
I'm at
It's a
that
lot of
point.
stuff to know.
I'm at that point in my life where I want to be somebody else's stepping stone. So like I want to help other
Yeah,
people.
you've been mentoring a few people.
Yeah, I've actually been funny enough. We're gonna use this as a slight little ad for myself. I've mentored quite a few people over the years, about 5 or 6, who have turned around and encouraged me to actually make this YouTube channel 2 years ago, which is why I did that. But lately, I've been in the Together Java class or Together Java Discord, and I've been helping out other people, answering questions in the voice chat, hanging out, and um, quite a few people have just been looking for project ideas to kind of start with, and so I started putting together these little things, these little project ideas, and handing them out to Jesus. I must have at least half a dozen or more people in Together Java that I've been handing out projects, helping, and mentoring. But it got me to add a new page to my website, midnightcoder.dev/mentor, and there is currently 6 challenges that you can do that range from entry level CLI to a little bit more advanced CLI into some swing for some graphical interfaces, right up into some Spring Boot to get you into the mood for some magical dependency injected frameworks. Um, but yeah, if you want to learn Java, feel free to check it out. And back to this. This is why I don't do ads. I'm totally horrible at selling myself.
Yeah, but it's a big world, right? Oh, I learned. Yeah. What more can I say? And yeah, just encouraging people, right, to jump into things. I think also mentoring was one of it's teaching is one of the things that I'm addicted to.
Mm.
I can safely say that's just it's just a crazy dopamine for me, right? I just love I
Yeah,
love
me
distilling
too.
what I
I
know.
I love to see I love to see like my students come in with like either like their current knowledge, but like I love watching them grow, and like when they achieve something like that, that's a big dopamine hit for me because like I don't know, I kind of
Or
get
them
super.
going like I understand now that's also huge.
Yes, when I explain something out and they're like, "Oh, I get it." It's like, "Fuck yeah. Huge win."
Yeah,
I get super excited. And like honestly, I've had a couple of people actually they went pretty quick through some of like the rock paper scissors uh challenge
right.
that I have, and like I got one guy, he actually finished it completely pretty quick. I was impressed with that, but then he decided to take on the bonus challenges and pile through those as well. And like I don't know,
I'm also trying to look at chat a bit.
I get a bit of a I get a bit of a high from other people's success.
Yeah, I also like personally too. I always not to brag a bit, but I like to say to people, like who better to teach you the core concept itself of programming, like just programming itself, right? Not the uses of programming, than
Mm.
someone who literally works on the languages themselves every day.
Yeah, really though, really though. Like honestly, I am jealous as shit for you, like your knowledge of the compilers and like the lower level. Like I'm totally
Just
jealous there.
languages now,
Hmm.
you can grill me about Python all you want, chat. I can hold up. Doesn't mean that.
2 ways to be smart. One is to act smart. I think I just jumped into a middle of a
Yeah,
conversation.
and also I've got to be honest. Like there are times when I don't know, right? I think I think people have seen this, sometimes, I think one of the
Mm,
most important skills in life is being okay to say when you don't know enough
exactly, right?
and you don't want to say bullshit.
Right? Candor is the best thing.
You already saw that on the Objective-C, right? There were times I was just like, I don't know.
Honestly, I love when I hit a wall where I don't know something, just because I love to learn.
It's an opportunity to learn.
Hmm. And especially if like
And also, one of my teachers for algorithms always said, like, when we fail to meet like deadlines well, he's like, look, take every failure as a learning opportunity. He'd always say that.
exactly, exactly. I've been saying that for years too. The only time what I used to say was the only time you ever truly fail is when you do not learn from the lesson that you like lost. So like if you hit a failure,
Yeah, that's
if
also
you
something
don't
I wanted.
learn if you don't learn from your failures, then yes, you've truly failed. Otherwise, it
You
was a
need to
learning
practice
opportunity.
to fail, and you need to learn